you know.
Invincible.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. protect your soul.
And watch some amazing Counter-Strike. We already have two teams in the semifinals, Spirit and FaZe, and today we won't crown the champion yet, but we'll find the others that are still in the race, Pimp and Devilwalk.
Yes, it's going to be amazing today. As you said, it's very rainy outside. You know, it's been sunny for a couple of days, but we move into the arena now. We move into the gamer weather, and I cannot wait to kick off today. We have two very interesting matchups, and of course, the first one being ENCE Flames. There's a lot at stake for all these teams today.
It's going to be amazing to watch and see how it actually develops. We have amazing matchups, NAVI, Heroic, ENCE and Copenhagen Flames. So I just, I hope that we get banger games in both of those series.
Absolutely do. We're going to get knee-deep into those matchups, but first we're going to check in with Frankie, who's on stage.
Everyone, hello Sports Police! Now, yesterday we did have a few upsets on this stage. NIP nearly made it to the semi-finals, but FaZe just had too much experience on their shoulders. And then we had an upset. I think Brazil might still be a little bit upset this morning because Spirit shocked them to take a spot in the semi-finals. And today we're going to have two more intense quarter-finals. One of the things that's quite surprising, though, actually, is the amount of fans who've turned out for teams who didn't quite make it to this point. If you look to my left here, we have got some very enthusiastic fans who've currently turned their backs on me. They are the Golden Hornets, and they're currently singing for Vitality. I don't even know if I can get their attention, to be perfectly honest. So instead, I'm going to turn my attention over to G2. The G2 army are right at the front of the stage there. There we go. They got the memo, did the G2 army. But you know what? When it comes to fans, you guys are like the sixth members of any team. And I'd love to hear how you are going to be supporting your favorite teams today. So Sports Police, can you cheer like you're the sixth man for me if I ask you? Nicely, please. Sports Police, with me in 1, 2, 3. That was the warm-up. Okay. LA. Now the Vitality fans are listening. Hello, guys. Nice of you to join us. Okay, Sports Police. Let me hear you. The arena is still filling up, so we're going to head over to the panel now to get us ready for our first match between ENCE and Copenhagen Flames.
Oh, I love it.
Amazing.
It's so great. I mean, unfortunately for the Vitality fans and the G2 fans and also the Brazilian fans, their teams are out, but it's not really affecting their mood, it seems like, right? And I love that. We're all here because we love Counter-Strike, and we love it whatever team plays.
It's hard not to get goosebumps standing right here and being so close to that arena, being so close to that energy. And as you so rightfully said, it's amazing to see that even though Vitality kind of shit the bed, to be completely honest, and didn't make it, they are still here to be supported. The fans are still here showing up, and I absolutely love that when it comes to Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and that's what's so amazing about Counter-Strike. We have such passionate fans all around. They're here for the games, even if their favorite team isn't here at the playoffs. And it's huge respect for both the G2 fans and the Vitality fans, because they've been bringing it not only today, yesterday as well. So, you know, I'm loving it and hope to see more noise from them.
Same. One thing, though. Can you pronounce the place we are at for me?
Yeah.
Sport Palais?
Sport Palace.
Sports Palace.
Okay.
Very well done. Love it. Now we're going to check in with our casters for the first series, Vince and Blair.
Thank you very much, Shox. It is a pleasure to be here in Antwerp today. I can't wait to get into this game, Blair. You must be so hyped for this.
I am incredibly hyped. I mean, it's still early in the day. You can see the crowd turning up as well. I'm ready. I'm sure you're ready. I'm sure everyone's ready right now.
Oh, we really are. And I think ENCE and Copenhagen Flames are going to have quite a few fans in here. So Antwerp, are you with me for these teams? A decent amount. I think as the crowd continues to fill in, we're going to get a lot more loud and rockers support on both of these teams. But for now, we're going to head back to the desk.
Thank you so much. We had a little bit of a tour around the arena to see what all is up, but now let's get into the nitty-gritty and let's get into the tournament. First, let's recap what has happened yesterday and hopefully get the bracket up as well, as I can still hear Vince and Blair. We can't get rid of them, it seems. So, what a fantastic start we had to the playoff stage. NIP versus FaZe, Devilwalk. NIP put up a valiant fight, I want to say, not only in that match, but in the whole tournament, but FaZe just ramped up as that best of 3 went on.
Yeah, and they have so many big game players, clutch players, and so many of those moments to turn it around in their favor. It was these magical major moments that they produced in that matchup. Unfortunately, for the Swedes and myself, the magic for NIP wasn't enough this time.
Listen, massive props to NIP. Not only for the game yesterday in the quarterfinal, but also the tournament as a whole. They weren't really favored to get into the playoff, but they did it with conviction. They played some solid Counter-Strike, and I agree with you. Was it not for Brokey, was it not for Rob stepping up massively yesterday, there's a world where NIP potentially could have taken down FaZe, and that would have been one hell of a scalp. So yeah, despite losing yesterday, NIP can be nothing but proud.
And how do we feel about FaZe now? As you said, they are a team that thrives when the pressure gets higher, when they are on stage, when people are against them and for them in the crowd, right, Pim?
They are, and I'm scared. Scared as well. You know, they've lost a lot of games where I thought they'd win, but I'm scared on behalf of the rest of the teams in the tournament. We saw it yesterday. The first map, you know, Brokey didn't play well, Robs didn't play well. They were still able to win. Then we saw it on the third map. You said it yourself right here. When pressure amounts, when it really gets down to the nitty-gritty, that's when they step up. And we saw exactly that yesterday. I don't think FaZe played at 100% yesterday, and they still won with somewhat conviction, and that to me is a scary prospect.
Yeah, they're growing into the tournament. I wasn't convinced completely going into the playoff for the game yesterday, but they proved me wrong, and I have a lot more stocks in FaZe right now as it is, because they did amazing, honestly.
Absolutely did. And then we have Team Spirit. They made it over Furia. They have been the revelation of the tournament so far. And I guess the big question just is, Devilwalk, is the sky the limit for these youngsters?
Yeah, I know you're a big Spirit fan secretly, but I think, you know, you constantly underestimate them, and they've been utilizing the position of pressure extremely well. We had an interview with Dexter. He said some fantastic words. I love that interview, how everything is just a bonus to them. Of course they want it, they're hungry for it, they have a lot of young players, but he really relieves the pressure from all these young players coming into their squad, and I think that really helps them produce the numbers and performances they have.
Listen, the performance yesterday is enough of a sentiment to say that they can go all the way if they continue down that path. Yeah. Beating Furia the fashion they did yesterday, they weren't pressured, they weren't tested, I would almost say, right? They were just by far the better team on the stage. It's only got to get tougher in a semi-final against FaZe. That is going to be rough, but there's nothing that tells me that Spirit wouldn't be able to continue down that path.
Someone even dropped the PGL Krakow situation earlier.
We'll see.
I mean, yeah, they're playing like they're flying right now, so we'll see. Before we get into ENCE versus the Copenhagen Flames, one word about the later series, Navi versus Heroic. I don't think it needs an introduction, but still, warm us up a little bit.
We got two of the best teams in the world. We got two teams who duked it out for the majority of last year. The one team in the world that felt like a threat to Navi last year was Heroic. That was the only team who could actually pressure them when Navi were at their absolute best. And what happened 3 weeks ago in the qualifier for this tournament was that Heroic, for the first time ever, beat them in a best of 3. Admittedly, Navi weren't in their best shape, but still, they must give Heroic some confidence. So, on paper, Navi are favorites, but that is going to be a banger of a game.
Yeah, so excited for that one. I mean, something to think about. I'm just thinking about that. How can Heroic be so good against Navi? And I think it's a little bit about like how fast they move on the maps, and the rotations are kind of similar because they do have that like 2-3 second extra pace in the rotation. And I think that matchup kind of fits Heroic quite well, because I don't think Navi are used to playing a team like that.
Well, the mind game has started already. Cadian and HLTV dropping the whole, yeah, they are the favorites. They must not lose. Okay, I'm sure they've seen that. That is later today. Let's start by jumping into our first series, ENCE versus the Copenhagen Flames. We're going to have the introduction on the teams on stage in just a couple of minutes. So let's lay out the lay of the land, so to speak, for these two teams. Let's start with ENCE, absolutely on a high. For me, the mark of a good organization is when you have been on top, the easy for ENCE days. Then, you know, maybe after a calmer period, finding your strength again, this time with a whole new roster that has been scouted it, and it's working together phenomenally.
There's quite some history when it comes to that, right? Because there was a Finnish squad the first time around when they got into the first major final, and they had to rediscover their identity, right? They had to move away from the Finnish scene. Maybe not enough talent, maybe not enough seriousness coming out of that, and they moved into an international prospect, giving the keys to Snappy, who has been, I would say, the driving force behind this project. The fact that he's been able to create what right now is the number world ranked 3 team in the world in a major quarterfinal with the players you see on your screen right here. Had you told me that just 6, 7, 8 months ago, I probably would have laughed and said, okay, these guys have potential, but for them to be in a quarterfinal at a major, let's calm our horses just a little bit.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that they basically picked up almost all free agents. They didn't go for massive buyouts. It was a cheap squad, and they've really developed them along the way, which is as you said, a proof they are a great organization and they're here for the future.
And they have the mix as well, right? Experience in Snappy. They have a couple of dudes who are up there in age. 24 is kind of old in Counter-Strike, and then they have those young guns who are just coming in with full-on aggression, full-on, I guess, motivation, and also delivers on the server. Spinks, of course, a guy we're going to talk much more about.
I think so, and it seems like for Spinks and for ENCE, it's been all about moving the goalpost, right? First, it was like, okay, how much can you do? EPL, the final, didn't manage to beat FaZe. Then they go to the Blast Showdown and they win that thing, right? And then they come here, and now we're just seeing how far they can go as the crowds get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's take a look at the Copenhagen Flames as well. Funnily enough, they are in a similar position than they were around PGL Stockholm when they weren't able to get that final hurdle and get onto the big stage. Still looking for that org, right? But the Copenhagen Flames, they've been doing fantastic, and they're also a squad that have been developing since then.
Let me paint a very clear picture right here. They're not supposed to be in a quarterfinal. They don't have the budget for it. You look at the team, you think they're not supposed to be as good as they are, but they played some fantastic Counter-Strike. As you said, they did it during the PGL Major in Stockholm. They surprised everyone, myself included. I didn't think that those 5 players could be so goddamn good, but they are. Now, coming into this one, one thing is doing it once, but having to do it again when everyone is looking at you and actually fearing you and preparing for you, that is hella impressive. So no, this team right here, they're not supposed to be as good as they are, but they're still inside the very first quarterfinal at a major, and they fully deserve it.
Yeah, they're incredible hard workers. I know I've talked to Huxi, I've talked to Vorborg about this, and they work probably the hardest out of any team out there. They are extremely, well-versed. Like Huxi demands it out of everyone. Yeah. I know that for a fact. He does not want any slouchers in his team, and they are really proving that on the server, that the hard work pays off.
And I just want to point one thing. You see Roy right here on your screen. He's 28. He's actually one of the guys with the least experience, if I dare say it. He didn't start playing Counter-Strike when he was 15 years of age. He started his pro career 4 or 5 years ago, and now he's on the top. So to all you guys out there sitting, I'm 22, I'm 23, I missed the train, there's always a way. Roy right now is a great example of such.
Absolutely so. In an interview recently, he also said, I don't know what it is about our squad, even though we don't have that much experience along us. Some of the people like Nikodos and like Jabby, they are just flying when they come onto the server on a LAN environment. And they also said, Nikodos in the interview after they qualified to this stage, well, now we play with absolutely nothing to lose. Like, we've already done what we came out here to do, and that is absolutely fantastic. And I think when you look at the way they made it, Devil Walk, we talked so much about it, about you're in that 2-2 matchup again. Now you're going up against Imperial. It goes to double overtime on Vertigo, but they broke that, right? They went for it and they made it here, and I think that's a big step to take for that roster.
Yeah, otherwise you start thinking about curses and all kinds of things, but they broke that instantly. They didn't make it a tendency, so that's a really good sign for them going into it. They have been super impressive because, they haven't really lost against, it's the semi-final teams they lost against. Yep. It's Spirit and it's FaZe, and that's super impressive. You can look at all the matchup and their way here, and they've just, blown everyone away, I think.
Absolutely have. We'll dive a bit deeper into the matchup in just a second, but now Frankie is standing by with our teams.
Thank you very much, guys. Now, I think the crowd is ready for this one. When ENCE first went international, few would have predicted their current success. But in the past few months, Snappy's boys have shown that they can not just beat the best, but be counted among them too. please welcome, it's ENCE! Opponents. Now, this team's dedication to learning the ins and outs of every corner of Counter-Strike has finally seen them make it to the big playoff stage. Will their commitment to Counter-Strike finally pay off tonight? Sports Police, get ready for Copenhagen Flames! Like to join me in the corner here? I'm going to take Snappy. Siphon, I'm going to come to you first. Your family's traveled all the way from Denmark to watch you play in your first major playoffs. How does it feel to know that they're here to cheer you on?
The support is like it means so much to me, and I think this will boost my confidence in game. That I know that they're out there cheering for me and making me better in game.
What does a confident Siphon look like in game?
What?
What do you look like when you're at your most confident in game?
It's just about like making the right decisions and not really overthinking things, and like always making good choices.
I'm sure you're going to make plenty of those today. I'm going to come over to your fellow Dane, Snappy, obviously your rivals right now. Snappy, you've been on the scene for a bit, but this is your first major playoffs. What's it like for you finally making it to the quarterfinals?
It feels amazing to be here in the autumn of my career and make it to the stage. It's obviously been a dream of mine for a long time. So I'm just happy I finally made it, and hopefully we can go a bit further and bring a good match against Flames today.
Well, the only numbers we care about in Counter-Strike are the ones that we see on that board. Gentlemen, please shake hands, and we'll get these quarterfinals underway with the panel.
Thank you so much. Amazing stuff. By the way, if you didn't see it, I think it was Siphon's mom who tweeted like a photo from when he was little with like a plastic gun, and now, I mean, Counter-Strike is what dreams are made of, and that is proven every single day. I'd like to start with talk about the IGLs and Snappy versus Hooksy. I think we've got two IGLs here, as said, who aren't necessarily the guys that are the stars of the Counter-Strike scene, right? But who have been working so hard for so long in these individual projects and bringing them to newer heights.
Listen, Snappy has been a workhorse for a very, very long time. He played Counter-Strike 15 years ago. You remember him maybe from 1.6 in the days?
Yeah.
You do, yeah. A player that has just been grinding and grinding and grinding. And he's always been good, but he's never been at a level where you thought, okay, he can lead a team that is top 8 or top 5 in the world. But he has been doing such the last couple of months. So massive props to him. Hooksy, on the other hand, relatively new guy, still, you know, up there in the age. But even in the Danish scene, no one really gave him the credit. But he finally found the right mix of players, and he's doing a fantastic work together with the rest of the Flames.
Yeah, and they are kind of similar but very distinct differences in their calling style in IGL. I think like Hooksy, for example, he likes more masking defaults, going for trick plays within it, and Snappy, he goes maybe a little bit more gimmicky styles, more fast-paced kind of tricks up his sleeve. So it's going to be a very, very interesting way, and obviously they have a different in stylistic with their players, but it's going to be an interesting IGL matchup.
Yeah, you love to use the word, but both very well-drilled teams,
Yes,
right? When
they
it
are
comes
very
to
well drilled.
Let's
Yes.
pick out a couple of those individuals that you just mentioned. Spinks, let's just go for it. We're
Okay.
going to be talking about him a lot. If the goalpost that we've now set out for him, he also just shoots the goal there. Because I remember we have been talking about it throughout this tournament. All right, what's he going to do at the Major? What's he going to do in Challenger stage, Legend stage? And this guy has just been improving in front of our eyes and seems to revel in the level of competition that is put in front of him.
Just look at the stats on your screen right here, right? He is one of the best players in the entire tournament, and he's probably one of the more impactful players as well when it comes to how well and how much he's helping his team. This guy on your screen, as you said, we keep raising the bar. He came into the Major qualifier, played well. He came into the Major, played well. Now he's on the stage. Now he's in a quarterfinal, and I guess that's where we're setting the bar. Can he also deliver on stage with a crowd in front of him? Then we may very well be looking at one of the best players in the world of Counter-Strike as of right now.
Yeah, he's been proving ourselves wrong in all our questions about him. He's constantly raised the bar, and I think he's on the road to superstardom. He is such a good player.
Devilwalk, break it down for me. Why is he playing so well? What's his style in game?
So stylistically, I think he's more of a cleanup man, more of a, you know, he embraces the chaos that Snappy, Mad and Dusha creates for him on the server, and he's very good at abusing and finding timings to get map control, sometimes an entire bomb site with one kill or blocking them off. So he's very percentage-based player, and it shows on the server.
He's a lone wolf that at any given point on the map can make chaos happen, right? You said it yourself right here. He doesn't necessarily need a flash for him. He doesn't necessarily need a teammate to bait for him. But if Spinks wants to, he can go out, he can find a couple of duels, and he can dictate the game and dictate any given round. To have a player to be able to do that with a rifle, there's very few in the world who can do that. Spinks right now is one of them.
Absolutely so. He is also being supported, not only supported, but Daicha often top fragging in the server for ENCE as well. They have so much firepower, as you say, that they can make work for them. Let's look at the other side. What can we expect in terms of firepower from the Copenhagen Flames? It seems that they are all very well versed in that department.
It's a well-rounded team, right? There's no clear star within Copenhagen Flames. You may look towards Roy and say that's the guy that most consistently plays well, but in this tournament, a lot of the players are very similar. You look at Siphon right now and Nikodos sharing the same high rating, 1.10 as the highest. Roy a little bit behind, Yabi a little bit behind, and then you have one problem, perhaps, in Huxi. He's a great in-game leader, but individually speaking, he hasn't really played well this Major. He's currently the 4th lowest rated player in the entire tournament, and just to make the comparison with Snappy, as we talked about before, that could be a problem. There's more firepower when it comes to him than there is on Copenhagen Flames.
Yeah, but they do have this man, and he is I think, if you're going to look at anyone matching up against ENCE players, and he's going to be like the better one, so to speak, I would look at Nikodos on the Flame side, because he constantly produces magical moments for Flames, and I think that he will be a super key player if they're going to be able to break against this best of 3.
Yeah, you didn't mention the name, but Hades, of course, on the other side, has been up and down at times, and I think he then also had games against good opponents that he really showed what he was made of. But we're looking for that consistency, and I think especially when you come into the playoff bracket against these opponents and the next ones that you may face, now is the time to show your top level.
He needs to, right? Because the man on your screen to the left right here is the one weak point. If you have to point out something, I don't think he's a weak player. I don't think he's a bad player by no means. And as you said, we see glimpses of what he can do. But on a consistent basis, if you were to pick a player right now from ENCE, you potentially could remove in the future, or you could potentially switch out with someone else in order to make them an even better team, that would be the guy. So I agree, pressure is on Hades, and I would go as far as saying that Nikodos so far, and in the, I guess, last couple of months, he's been the better player. So if there's one area in the game where Copenhagen Flames actually have the better card in their hand, it would be on the AWP.
Yeah, I will see in the map pool if that's something that they can exploit a bit more. It's coming in just a second. So guide us into this one. We've seen different strengths from these teams, but what should be the priorities, Devilwalk?
I think, you know, looking at both teams, they both are very well drilled, as I like to say, but they have, I think pistols are super key in this duel because they're both very meticulous. They have a great conversion rate after. I think they're both on 87.5% conversion rate on the second and third round. So they have multiple anti-ECAs. They do have a deep playbook, both of these teams. But looking at the veto, interesting here. Vertigo, I thought, nuke pick from ENCE. I actually suspected they might go for a Mirage, but it's still in the pool.
I absolutely love these map picks from both teams. You're Copenhagen Flames, you think to yourself, okay, we're going against ENCE. ENCE is a very good Vertigo team, especially recently. They've had some very solid results, but we feel comfortable on Vertigo. Vertigo is our home ground, so we feel comfortable picking that map into ENCE. Same could be said for ENCE, right? Nuke right now is to be considered the best map in the map pool, but you look towards Copenhagen Flames and you think, okay, maybe you could have gone with something else. Maybe you could have put them under a little bit of a pressure, but ENCE feel like they're the favorites. They feel like they want to pick their best map, right? So you have two teams right now who are both picking their best maps, going into a best-of-3 series, and that's usually what makes for the best games.
Yeah, in the top level, we referenced it already, but for the Copenhagen Flames to make it here, it was on Vertigo that they kept their cool. I think they feel very confident in their abilities going onto that map. Break it down a little for me in terms of the starts of these two teams. Pimp, I know you dove a bit deeper into the pistol rounds generally and the winning of rounds for both two teams.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to Vertigo, I think we should start there, right? Because you look at ENCE right now and the record they have in the past 3 months, not necessarily that scary. You look at a 50% win rate, but the last 3 games they've played out here, right? They beat Outsiders 16-6. They beat Copenhagen Flames at Blast Show Springdown 16-7, and they beat NIP 16-9. They haven't given up double digits on Vertigo in the past 3 games, and that's what Copenhagen Flames decides to bring into the map pool. I'm curious to that one.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about this veto a little bit, and I'm starting to think that Copenhagen Flames actually have an advantage in this veto. I think these maps are absolutely great for them. If they have a chance to 2-0, if they bring Vertigo, they have a great nuke. So I don't think nuke is, I think it's a little bit of a risky pick for ENCE, even though they are so good at it.
And the third one is the one that Copenhagen Flames beat ENCE on in this very tournament. Very interesting. As we are about to get into this game, Pimp, break it down for us from the macro perspective of what we're looking at. ENCE is the number 3 in the world. They should be heavy favorites here, but now they're in the pressure cooker.
Listen up, ENCE are the heavy favorites right here. We have seen Copenhagen Flames crumble under the pressure a couple of times. Maybe, just maybe, the fact that they're over that hurdle, the fact that they finally got into the quarterfinal could be enough for them to play free. If they can, I believe we get a competitive game. I believe we get a close game, because I agree with you. Both the maps are good for both teams. I will say, though, that ENCE being the number 3 in the world right now, ENCE having Spinks in their lineup, ENCE having Dyha, who's one of the most underrated players at this tournament, there's a lot of stuff right now that points in the direction of ENCE.
Final notes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-1 series. I can't see this actually going any other way. ENCE has a 7% out of all games where they lose 2-0. So I don't think it's going to be that way.
I'm going to spice it up just a little bit. I think ENCE will win 2-0, but I think we're going to get 2 competitive maps, and we're looking at a 16-13 scenario on both.
Okay, I signed up for that, but I always want 3 maps. I think Vincent Blatt are ready to take us into the arena, so take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Shox and the boys. Expert job. Look, our job, Blair, isn't to rehash what the desk has already said. Our job is to hype this crowd up and deliver on the players' makings. Are you ready for this game?
I am so ready. The crowd, they look ready. The team should be ready as well. And I think that just broke it down perfectly. So much on the line for both these two teams. It's going to be nerve-wracking, and it's going to be so intense in the serve, and we're ready to kick things off here.
I think the crowd might be ready, but I want to hear you, Antwerp. Are you ready for this game? We are live.
And we're wasting no time. It is going to be the Vertigo pick coming in from Copenhagen Flames. It's their map pick. It is a map they will be looking to win if they want to take the series, because as Des said, the favorites would have to be ENCE. ENCE, though, starting on the CT side, we have a full USP armor purchase coming out, and Copenhagen Flames wasting no time, an A hit on the cards.
Straight up on the ramp side is ENCE for the time being, pushing through the side and ramp simultaneously, but Copenhagen Flames at a very fast flank. Now bolstering up 4 players over on the back of the site. Smoke's being deployed, first kill still not forthcoming, but there is Siphon through the smoke into the head, and that yields the bomb plant as well. And now ENCE have all the work ahead of them. They're gonna have to try and retake. Snappy gets one.
Snappy gets one, but this retake isn't going to be easy. They need to hit the shots here, Vince. No utility.
No utility, and on the drive-by, Huxi comes in, but Dyha with 2 lights up the scoreboard. And now Nikodos with it all to do with the Glock, but Snappy says no. ENCE get first blood in the quarterfinals.
That was such a clean retake coming in from ENCE. They had no utility Vince, no kits as well. They knew they couldn't allow Copenhagen Flames to feel comfortable in this post plant, immediately going in for the retake and making things so very convincing. And Snappy with an unreasonable shot to open things off. Clean shots coming out here from the side of ENCE. And I gotta say, at least in the server, this ENCE side, their first arena game, their first arena round, and they seem to be calm and composed.
Absolutely, third in the world for a reason, as they have shown time after time. And Diha locking down the B side with his A1S. It is effectively just upgraded pistols and a couple of Glocks thrown in the mix as well, but ENCE have done well to kick things off very cleanly.
Yeah, not really going for the force buy here, even though Copenhagen Flames, they got the bomb down. So just going to be going for the pistols, as you pointed out there, Vince. Yabi going in for a little bit more. He's got a Tech 9 and Kevlar as well to work with. For ENCE, it's about keeping everyone alive, getting that MP9 in the hands of Madden to farm as much cash as possible. And you can see they've invested heavily in the rifles here. Lack of utility is something maybe Copenhagen Flames could try and abuse, but it's been a rock-solid hold coming out from the defense. And Diha, he's a player that Desk highlighted, Vince. He's a player we're talking about alongside Spinks as being the two stars of this ENCE lineup. And he's off to a rolling start, albeit it's against just the pistols.
Yeah, the caveat needs to be put into place, but you can understand that all these players have not played on a stage of this magnitude before, so there could be some jitters, some nerves coming in, so it's great to see ENCE kicking things off cleanly. And although Nikodos does possess a deagle and 35 seconds, it's surely not going to be going in his favor. They have every single angle covered right now. And the star player on Copenhagen Flames is going to get sprayed down. 2-0 start, ENCE. Very convincing.
Very convincing, not losing a single player, but the buy is going to be coming in for Copenhagen Flames. You have the AK-47s being purchased. No AWP yet here early on in the game for Nikodos, but we have the AKs. We got a ton of utility as well. And Flames, I mean, they are really dominant on this map, but you go back a few days, you saw how it was a bit of a struggle against the Brazilians in the form of Imperial, and that is going to be something on the back of the mind. So we do have the first test here for ENCE. Madden still wielding the MP9 and looking to be aggressive. Time being, there's going to be Hades with the M4 of this, alongside his captain in the form of Snappy. Bit of a lull in the action here. No pressure towards mid from the side of ENCE. And Snappy looking to take the fight. He finds one, but the trade is immediate.
Ooh, Nikodos doubles up, gets ramp control. Will be forcing away the CTs as well from rotational positions. Diha, who's had a lot of success already on the B side, may be caught in transition. But Madden feels like he could be the linchpin here. Blair, if he can get a kill with that SMG, anything's possible. And ENCE, they decide they're going to hold positions, and Copenhagen Flames begin to retreat.
They're expecting this re-aggression coming out from ENCE, but Madden being all by his lonesome, if he walks in and he falls, that A bomb side, it's going to be free for the taking for Copenhagen Flames. So just going to buy this time, holding the angle towards the short position. Siphon, in the meantime, making his presence felt towards mid, and that's keeping two of the CTs, at least one of them in the form of Spinks, focused towards mid, and a hit is coming in on the A bomb side.
40 seconds to play with Spinks now in prime position. Grenade up and over, could be doing some significant damage, but Huxi is dealt with side, and there is Yabi. Straight through, claims the headshot. Diha in a 1-on-4. Time may work against the Danes if they're not careful. Diha's got one, did catch the leg, can't finalize the kill though. And Nikodos will be putting the bomb down. Diha, a dangerous game of cat and mouse. If he can take down Nikodos, this round is doable, especially considering how low Huxi currently is. But Nikodos expertly plays around the box, and Copenhagen Flames are finally on the scoreboard.
Don't give him a chance there, Vince. Well executed. I love how Siphon was making a lot of noise towards mid. It was forcing Spinks to hold down the mid. And we have a bit of a contingent here. They have been the loudest section in the crowd in the past couple of days.
I was surprised at how many ENCE and Copenhagen Flames fans we've got in the audience right now, honestly. We were just talking to a group of guys over to our left traveling all the way from the US. Hello, guys. Pretty amazing stuff. I'm sure there's many other stories like that. But into the fourth round we move, Black.
Yep, and the buy is of course going to be coming in. It was a great second round, so the buy comes in. Snappy, he's going to be plucked, but Hades with a quick trade.
Quick trade, keeps himself alive on the sandbags. Susceptible to being mollied off. This is an important trade. It goes the way of Yabi. And Ramp can now fall the way of the tease, but it's a flop Molotov.
You can see slight nerves. It's tense. 4v3 though, still man advantage for the Copenhagen Flames side. And look at this, the push, and Yabi, he reads it to perfection. Madden will fall.
He may have messed up the Molotov, but there's nothing wrong with his aim. 2 huge entries. And ENCE feeling the burn again on their CT economy. They went all in on this round, Blair. They're down to an SMG, they're down to an M4, and they have nothing in reserve. They've got to stand their ground and fight.
And I love how Copenhagen Flames are being so very patient. Man advantage, they don't want to give it away. Spinks now starting to question it could potentially be a late B play. But the Molotovs and the smokes getting deployed, that should be the tell. And Spinks got to go nuclear now.
Well, this has to be a huge round through the smoke. The right idea, but Yabi with his 3rd. Entry kills to perfection. And just like that, ENCE are a done deal. Diha, his options are scarce. He either runs and tries to save the SMG or stands and fights and maybe posts up a kill. He doesn't even have a kit at this stage. So we are going to be all tied up at 2 apiece. And Yabi, take a bow. That was a phenomenal round.
We have so many questions and unknowns when it comes to these two teams playing their very first arena game, especially in a major as well. And there were going to be nerves. There were some questions. Can Spinks deliver? Can he be the best player in the server? Because he's been phenomenal by far. The desk spoke about it as well. Him alongside Diha, they've been incredible. 2nd and 3rd highest rated player in the tournament right now. But you look at his Copenhagen Flames side, sure, it is a team effort for them. You don't really have a clear-cut star player. But Yabi, for me, man, as an entry, the amount of impact he can find. Hades over here caught in a very uncomfortable position. And this one, he knows Madden's got to go for some info play, and he waits patiently and pops his head clean off his shoulders. ENCE now down to just a saved M4A1 in the hands of Diha. But Vince, one thing we know about this man, he can deliver even if it has to be all by his lonesome.
Now, they were discussing this on the desk. He is a huge heavy hitter on ENCE, so Copenhagen Flames can take nothing for granted. Need to tread lightly. What we have seen, though, is their ramp control's been solid, and that's what we're talking about. Insta headshot, Roy's just gone.
And immediately pivot back. They know there's no more guns here, and it's going to be just one defender.
In comes Yabi, taking point, does get dinked down and finished off by Spinks, who's landed another headshot, but Typhon survives on 22, and now Diha's up to the plate, trying to drill down the players, and he's got himself 2 more. Ridiculous round from the pole, and he goes in for another one. A 4K for Diha.
Absolutely incredible from him. 1 M4, that's all they needed. A 4K, and all they had was USPs, Vince. 4 USPs and the M4, and Diha does everything by his lonesome. Opening it up, finding Roy. And it was a right call from Copenhagen Flames as well. They knew where Diha was towards the A bomb site. They immediately pivot back towards the B bomb site, but then Diha, such quick rotations, 9-1 for him, as we have a little bit of some fancy movement from Roy here, looking to catch Diha.
Beautiful play. We saw this in the Legend stage as well, Blair. We casted this. It was a flashbang and Roy got the perfect entry. So good to see them bust it out, but ENCE, they're a step ahead. They weren't even there to get headshotted down. Diha already on 9 kills as we move into the 6th round. And as we highlighted, a player may be down, he is never truly out.
Diha, he reads it. Almost finds the tap, but here comes the play though. 2 T's pushing on in.
Nikodos in the meanwhile though gets the first entry. Now Diha has to try and rinse and repeat, but Roy has dealt him the fatal blow. Copenhagen Flames in a 4-on-2 will be very likely to secure this round, and ENCE want no part of it. It's 1 step forward and multiple steps backwards. If they can save these weapons though, there could be a way forward for another buy.
Yeah, they could still eke out a buy here, but the AWP in the hands of Hades, there's nothing it can do. Far away from where the bomb's planted. And yeah, if they can save these 2 guns, which they should, Madden can buy for himself, Hades can drop a weapon, but it's still gonna be a bit of a dicey buy. So yeah, Copenhagen Flames, great recovery. It looked like they completely capitulated in round number 5, but able to bounce back, keeping all 4 alive. Just Nikodos the only sole casualty, but that was after he did get one of the entries. So Copenhagen Flames making things still very competitive.
3-3, the score. They said it on the desk. Even if it does go the distance, even if it's a 2-0, they expect this is going to be a close game, and so far it has delivered. But a lot of it's been of individual efforts when it comes to ENCE, and that may be an issue going through into the latter stages of this map if it continues.
They're calling attack time out early on as well. We're just 6 rounds in. Shout out to this guy. Shout out to this guy. He's been wearing that, I feel like, since yesterday.
I'll tell you right now, it's pretty hot in this arena, I'm not going to lie. I can't imagine how much that guy is struggling, so fair play. My respect.
All right, I can see your pick-ups. I can see your pick-ups.
He's got NAVI to win it.
He got Spirit. What a genius.
I got Spirit too.
You're a genius too, Ben. So here we go. It looks like they have talked things through as we have a buy coming in once more. As we spoke earlier, a couple of guns will be dropped. Diha will only have to make do with the MP9. A couple of kits, decent bit of utility as well to work with. We have an early boost once more. He's been spotted, however.
There was a flash in the eyes. I'm not sure if they know exactly where he is, but he's plucked the Molotov again. And that's going to allow Diha to stay in position, but he still gets plucked out from the AK-47.
Roy making up for that Molotov, and here comes the play. Spinks with the op. That's interesting.
Yeah, over Hades, it would appear. So definitely keep an eye out on this play. Spinks in the meanwhile, though, more than capable with the weapon. He's normally, though, when you think of Spinks, you think of the rifle. You think of just crazy fragging out with that weapon.
Look at the rotation from the T's. This is brilliantly played. They know mid's open, so they have to invest Hades over there, leaving the A bomb side with just one defender right now, and it's got to be the captain to deliver.
Snappy up on the off angle, the scaffolding with a hit and run. Afforded the luxury of backing away, tosses in a grenade, no one's there to deal any kind of return damage though, and he's done enough to force the Flames back again.
Roy still has control of the B stair, so they will still have an avenue to this bomb site, and Spinks, he's been scoped in the entire round, and now it's his turn to strike with the AWP.
Going in for that late boost again. We've seen this a couple times from the Flames. Spinks is here though. Later, wait, but he misses the shot. He's still alive to tell the tale, but it's going to be a Molotov designated towards him. Second shot is also missed. Hades steps up, delivers one. 20 seconds left on the clock. Looking to try and fend off the push with Snappy. And they both dip in for frags, but here's Nikodos from the back. 10 seconds to play with the 1 HP. He needs a headshot, and he needs it yesterday. Is it going to be forthcoming? No! Hades holds on, and again, ENCE get the round, but by the skin of their teeth.
Hades actually faces, with barely any time remaining, the sheer cojones on this man. It was a bit of a question mark, seeing Spinks with the AWP, a couple of shots. Well, if it was in the hands of Hades, you know he wouldn't have missed that, but still able to bring it back. But you said it right, Vince. The rounds that ENCE are winning are coming down to the individual heroics of the players.
Vitality crowd has been amazing. This section has just been so loud throughout.
Shout out to them for showing up. Even though they're not there, the team's not there, they have definitely shown up.
Spinks on your screen there, missed a couple of key shots in that last round, but they weren't punished. However, the timeout has come and gone. ENCE are ready. Copenhagen Flames are also ready. And both teams going to have a bye, but it's not ideal on either side of the coin.
Yeah, this is going to be a pivotal round to see which team might be going on maybe a 2 or 3 round streak here. You see the Galils coming out for the side of Copenhagen Flames. It looks like a faster play towards B. Diha with a nade could deal a lot of damage.
Has been tossed in, but as Copenhagen Flames were a little bit more passive, not been affected. I understand why they've gone for that nade, though. We've seen that run boost multiple times. Flashing, Diha behind it, but he's getting drilled from multiple angles, and Yabi puts the final nail in the coffin. Spinks now showing us why he's so revered with the rifle with 2 big kills, and he forces back the Danes.
Roy is somehow sneaking his way in. They have no idea, but it's caught looking the wrong way. That is so unfortunate for Roy. They've lost control of ramps now, and just 2 players surviving for Copenhagen Flames, and Nikodos on 8 HP.
51 and Zyphon as well. Copenhagen Flames looking very rough. And keeping in mind the positioning of Snappy is so good, and Hades has his crossfire established on top of that. Bomb's been spilled down. This would have to be the play of all majors, and it will not be coming to pass.
great round for ENCE to win. They needed that desperately. Keeping 4 alive as well. They can upgrade one of the MP9s to the AK-47s from one of the fallen Copenhagen Flames member. But still a long path ahead. This was so well done by Sphinx. They lose Diha, and the fact is able to find not just one but the second kill. There was still a window for Roy to sneak his way in and just dismantle that A defense by his lonesome, but timing not quite panning out. A fast play coming in towards B, and this should be Farm City, but Diha getting riddled by the clocks.
They're basically tickling him, and Sphinx a triple spray. It was a full-on eco, can't get too carried away, but that's going to build that confidence, and more importantly, the back balance.
You can see a couple of smiles on the face of the ENCE players as well, and that's what you need, right? Even though, yeah, that was an eco bash, it does definitely help to start to get warmed up. Copenhagen Flames, it was just Glocks. Now the buy comes out again, but ENCE have now started to get a bit of a lead, 6-3. You can see the maps as well. ENCE picked Nuke, their best map. This is Copenhagen Flames' best map. So a win here seems imperative for the Danish side. Roy, once more, leading the path.
Snappy may be mollied out, but he's still in a good position behind the cranes. Flashbang designated to mid. This could affect Sphinx if he's not careful. Turns his back though, expertly navigates his way across. Another going to be moving into his crosshair, and he doesn't disappoint. HooXi should tread lightly or he will follow suit. And mid becomes the Flames' tomb. And they're getting sprayed across the map. They're being bullied and battered and bruised. And ENCE are looking good for yet another one.
ENCE look like they have stabilized. The first few rounds, it was iffy. And it came down to individuals, but now finally starting to look much better. I say that though. Immediate 2 kills from Yabi and Nikodos, and all of a sudden we still have a round in our hands here. They will creep on up. Still a lot of time to work with, but just one smoke.
Both players also have been tagged, and then the nades just rip and tear a little bit more HP off the bars, puts them into headshot range of the 2 A1Ss. And now a fact-finding mission. ENCE decide they want to be pushing up the side, take some control, and this could be the nuts position. This is the round coming to an end! Mad and beautiful spray transfer. 7-3 lead. ENCE are looking undeniable right now on this CT side.
For a moment there, it looked like Yabi and Nikodos would potentially be able to bring it back, but just the consistent re-aggression, the constant mobility of the CTs from ENCE catching Copenhagen Flames off guard. We do have a half-buy coming out. It's just going to be the pistols, maybe trying to take away a few weapons here. Once more the run boost for Roy, and he lands it again.
Hey, that's 100%, 3 out of 3 times. He has taken quite a bit of damage though, and there's another HG that's going to be finding its way, but the wrong side of the stairs. Forward position has been maintained though, but we've seen Copenhagen Flames get in these positions a few times, Blair, and they haven't really done much with it.
And for the side of ENCE, the past couple of rounds, they have started to build up a decent bit of money. You can see Mad and Sphinx on average about $7,000 on the 2 players, so they have stabilized their economy. They're looking pretty solid here. This nade should deal quite a bit of damage. Hades just trying to go for the jump spot. Hasn't seen anyone yet as Copenhagen Flames look to creep up and potentially find a couple of 1Ds.
Well, that nade could have been so much worse had it have not been for the box. The timing was slightly off. There were 4 players down there. 5th is HooXi in middle with his Desert Eagle, and now Hades gonna be 1 tap round the corner. This could get a little bit sketchy. Snappy needs to get a couple more kills out of this position. And he's being forced away. Now there's no Molotovs or HEs to deal with him. So it's still a really rough ask on Copenhagen Flames. And now Diha has joined the party, joined the fray. Down goes Madden. However, Snappy is also going to fall to Xiphon. He's picked up 3 kills in this round. And although he's down to 16 HP, they still have 30 seconds.
This is a lot of damage being dealt here. I'm not too sure why ENCE went for those fights. He had a headshot angle. And now we can see both the defenders remaining for ENCE. Diha and Sphinx, the 2 stars coming in. Bomb still needs to be retrieved.
Xiphon going in first with the A1S. Diha's dealt with his teammate and goes in for seconds. Diha, by the way, 15 kills already.
Easy for ENCE yet, Vince? I don't think so. I still feel like this game is still very, very early, but you have to admit, ENCE is starting to look pretty solid. A couple of rounds, that round in particular, didn't really have to lose so many players, but still they stabilized. Diha has been absolutely brilliant thus far. Second tactical timeout getting called here for the Flame side. And you can see Zyphon, 18 years of age, playing his first major playoffs, and you can see the shots affecting Hades as well. Great work from him. And sure, they lose a round, but they do deal a little bit of damage. They ensure the coffers of ENCE don't spiral out of control. 8-3 though for the Finnish org. And here comes the buy once more. No op yet for the side of Nikodos. They're going to be sticking with the AK-47s, and Hades looking to take the fight.
Flashed and smoked out of position though. They nearly snap away the IGL, but Hades is there to repel the push. And ENCE on Flames, not looking like they're going to be doused anytime soon. Decent utility also tossed in. HC in an incendiary as well towards the ramp. And again, the Copenhagen Flames get aggressive, but they get forced away.
Spinks pushing in mid as well. He could catch his rotation, Vince, the timing. He could listen to the footsteps, but they're going to slowly sneak on up. If they opt to head up the ladder, Spinks could completely ruin their day.
Molly still burns, going to be drawing away. Spinks, he's on the long flank here, Blair. This could be so catastrophic for Copenhagen Flames. It really relies on Madden. If he can stall this with a couple of kills, that could be good enough, but he's lost his head, he's lost his life, and now Spinks has to try and pick up the pace. Now it's Diha next up to the plate. They are watching the back though, the backside, but Spinks still takes the head before Zyphon's there to thwart the retake. They still haven't got the bomb planted though, and our utility is coming in thick and fast. Diha has also put a bullet between the eyes of Zyphon. 3-play-2, and suddenly the Flames have been put down again, and it's the pole in prime position to strike. Yavi's got himself one. This should afford him the luxury of the bomb plant. They have no more utility to stop this. They do have flashes, smokes, and a couple of kits. But Yavi could clutch. Hades will snatch it away though. And ENCE 9-3 in the lead.
Diha is pretty much single-handedly dousing the Flames. He has been so instrumental. That was a great call for them, going for the contact play towards the B bomb site. The defender is all by his lonesome. They take him down. Even the flank from Spinks, it looked like he'd easily find a couple, but he gets smacked down. But somehow Diha once more finding a multi-kill. And that is what everyone's battling for. That trophy. And right now, ENCE are on fire. 9-3. 3 rounds remain his first half. Dia's 17-6, and he has been just unstoppable.
He's been unbelievable, but you also have to have a look at Yavi. Yavi on the Flames has been so huge as well, with tons of entries, but it feels like there's been no follow-up. Roy has had a very slow game so far, and he's normally one of the better players. Madden, though, with 2 kills, and 3 gets it as well! No mutually assured destruction this time. ENCE are on the fast track to 10 rounds, and they can thank their new recruit for a beautiful 3K spray down.
They've just been stopped in their tracks, Vince. Going for the contact play out mid. The bombs dropped as well, so it's a recovery mission for Yabi and Roy. And Madden, he's just spotting for them. He's not going to stick on around. Still on 37 HP.
Oh, this HG as well, It's so grim. It may not do a ton of damage, but it softens them up, and Spinks is going to finish this one off. The bomb's at the top of the box. Good luck, Yavi. Not happening. ENCE are playing lights out Vertigo CT side right now. It's hard to see how the Flames get back in this.
The rounds they're starting to win are looking convincing. What a hole from Madden as well. They just went for the walkout, and even though he had a teammate nearby, Vince, he was all by his lonesome. Just incredible control in the A1. And what looked like a very back and forth affair just 15-20 minutes back, it was 3-3. It was back and forth. It came down to Diha getting some crazy multi-kill rounds, but with every single member of ENCE starting to come alive, the individual starting to shine. It's just starting to look very, very grim for Flames, as we will be seeing a light purchase. They're going to ensure they have enough money for the rifles come round number 15, but penultimate round of this first half here. And once more, they will have to just work with the Deagles and the Tech 9s. It's going to be a faster play once again out mid, and once more Madden has to answer.
And he has for the first and the second. He may go down to the hands of Zyphon, but he's got all the information and put it down into a 2-on-1. There is Spinks with the AWP again. interesting. And Diha may go down on the site, but considering Yabi's on 12 HP and has now been finished off, the chances for Huki are looking bleak, as are the chances for Copenhagen Flames to get any kind of a stranglehold on this map. 11-3, and we were discussing this before, it was individuals popping off in the first few rounds. Now the entirety of ENCE is there, and they're all delivering.
Yeah, you're not expecting to see Sphinx with the AWP just getting killed at will. We have a lot of Flames fans as well in the house. And a solitary ENCE fan right in front there. It's looking pretty easy for them, I have to say. Diha with a nade. Just gonna chip away at Huxi. But they have invested all they have. Final round of the first half for the side of Copenhagen Flames. Can they find one more win? A fourth round is imperative for them if they want to make things competitive.
Yeah, it gives them a little bit of a foundation. But that's all it will be, unless they can convert from here on out. And Madden once again delivers. Nikodo's down, Roy gets traded out, and it's more of the same. Deja vu. The Danes are being straight up destroyed. And Diha is 1 kill away from a first half 20 bomb.
He might just even find it here. What an absolute shutdown it's been from ENCE. Zyphon, young Zyphon left alone, 1v4, great shot into Madden, but his position is known. Sphinx will shut him down. ENCE get 12.
Incredible first half performance on ENCE, but I have to say the Flames have looked like they haven't got out of first gear so far. We've had moments of brilliance from Yabi. Roy showed a little bit up towards the end, but so many of their heavy hitters aren't on the server yet, Black. That has to change.
You gotta love them. You gotta love them.
Makes me think, imagine how loud they would be if Vitality were playing right now. I'm not sure we'd have a roof afterwards, honestly.
Well, right now, what we do have are Copenhagen Flames looking to make a comeback. Their pistol rounds have been a struggle in this Legend stage thus far, Vince. This time, they need to convert.
They simply have to. There's no second lifeline available. The Flames will know this, and they're posting up in passive positions. Saw ENCE very aggressive. Diha claiming a ton of kills, but now Nikodos on the mid. The T's have bypassed him, they're swelling, they're swarming onto the site, and Snappy is claiming heads. Zyphon though gets 2, looking for a third, but Diha and Snappy now come together in tandem and pick up the kills. The bomb's been spilled down, Nikodos is still alive, still taking heads. But Sphinx have to flank. Sphinx could still put this to bed. Sphinx could potentially take this entire map and put it in the back pocket of ENCE. The bomb still in awkward position. Nikodos administering the pain. And Copenhagen Flames now have a chance.
That is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Copenhagen Flames side. And Nikodos, what even are these shots? We said a pistol win was something they absolutely needed to make this even slightly competitive, and they find it. One step forward. Still trail massively, and you can see ENCE looking to exert the pressure. The force spy coming in, pistols abound, and it's going to be a trade down mid. Huxi with 1, but Madden with the trade.
They sacrifice the pistol and they keep the Glil alive. They get a bit of control as well. And now Madden can try and spread his wings, fly out towards window. Roy knows this is a possibility, but Madden's using that smoke expertly. Roy's not sure if he needs to bolster up the B side or stay in mid. Meanwhile as well, Blair, ENCE have other ideas. This is all misdirection. It's such a huge moment, and he gets double peeked. Death from above. If it wasn't from Yabi, though, he's about to get white swung from Roy. And now Zyphon stuck on the side. Has to try and clutch this one out. He's going to be fine. Yabi's alongside him as well. And that Galil, of course, has gone down, but Sphinx is still alive. And that Deagle, if it finds its mark another couple of times, this could get interesting. But instead, Roy shuts him down.
The cavalry arriving in the form of Roy, because Sphinx, boy, oh boy. You could almost see it transpire in front of your eyes, but Copenhagen Flames, they withstand the test of the force spy from Snappy and his men. Just a light investment here, and for Copenhagen Flames, It's about shutting it down, not suffering too many casualties, starting to build up the economy, starting to go on a streak, and bringing this one back. As ENCE just come charging on in, and just the pistols, not much being invested. It's Yabi just duking it out with D-Hub, but this should be a clean round. But Hades has got something to say about it.
These are all important kills as well. Have a look at the economy in some of these players. HooXi down to 200, Yabi's on 400. Even if they lose this round at this kind of a deficit, another kill or two could be enough. ENCE could really put some pain down, but instead it's Roy. A barrage of bullets down onto the ramp, and Snappy with his Tech 9 alongside him. He's not had a slow game either, 10 frags to his name, but the Tech 9 at that range is going to get nothing in return. We said the Flames have got to get the second pistol, they have to convert that opportunity, they've done just that, they've given themselves a chance now.
All right, he's got some guns.
Damn. Okay. They're not quite fur levels, but
Close
soon.
enough.
Soon.
All right, we're jumping back in here. 12-6 now. Copenhagen Flames survived the first test, but Yabi getting whittled down to 31 points of health. And he hasn't faded back yet. He's found a little bit of a window of opportunity to scamper back, but mid is wide open. Vince, there's no one here for the Flames side.
No one here, and with a low Yabi as well, but there is going to be a peek, a wide swing in, and Zypherd with one. Thinks better of overstaying his welcome. He's got the hit he was looking for. Backs away. Very smart decision.
Oh! Dink onto Snappy. And ENCE, they're not falling back. They seem committed to going for this B-take, and Yabi just spraying away through the smoke. He's got backup as well, and Dia comes charging in, and he gets team flashed.
That should have been Yabi dying. He was switching weapons there, but as he said, the team flash was everything. And now it's really messed with ENCE's plans. It's been a wrench in the works, and Yabi's going to take that wrench out and knock them upside the head with it as he sprays down another couple. And there's Zypherd in mid. The Flames on the fast track back in this match.
5 rounds now. Just 5 rounds separate them. And we said they needed to win a couple of these rounds in a bit more of a convincing fashion, and they have indeed done so. The op now out in the hands of Nikodos. And this is something that Des spoke about when it comes to the IGLs delivering, and the Des has said, you know, when it comes to individual prowess, Snappy seems to have the edge over HooXi. And you can see right now HooXi is struggling indeed, but then if his stars in the form of Yabi and Nikodos can shine, it could be a whole different ball game. Quick flick from Nikodos, won't quite find its mark. This is a line buy, mind you, but there is an AK-47 in the hands of Sphinx.
There is the hero, the potential savior of this round, but Roy passing more tests. Now he is starting to get in this game. Now we're seeing what he is capable of delivering, but the second frag goes against the Flames. Another miss from Nikodos. He's landed very little in this round. He's forced away. Lots of nade damage though, and there's Yabi with the follow-up. He's been so on point today for the Flames. They can go from strength to strength as the spray is slightly awry, and Hades comes back with one. ENCE making this a costly round right now. And there's the peek in. HooXi nearly capitalizing on the momentary weakness. And there's Nikodos. He's landed the shot he was looking for. Snappy in a 1 and 3. HooXi may be low. There's 50 seconds. Snappy with the first. Making this sting a little bit more than the rotations in from Snappy.
Oh.
And Siphon just about survives on the lowest of health.
There was a world there if Snappy, if he finds Zyphon, HooXi, the battle of the IGLs, and he was so very low. What was looking like a very one-sided affair. And Copenhagen Flames have finally seemed to have found their stride. Tag time getting called by ENCE. And they really haven't been finding much success here on the T side.
Awesome to see the Brazilian fans still in the crowd. Antwerp is still alive! What you love to hear. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Where dreams are made, or indeed shattered. And right now, the Flames, who are looking, honestly, dead and buried at half-time, they found that life raft, and they've been desperately swimming back ever since.
The Flames, they are burning bright indeed. It's been flawless on the defensive side. ENCE, though, even though they found 12, they found nothing here in the second half. Hades with the AWP, Roy spamming away through the smoke, almost finding the kill on the Madden as he will slowly peel back.
Oh, the damage is significant. That nade could finish him off. Lands onto his head, and they back out of ramp. However, it's at great cost to Madden's life, but he'll be so happy with that trade.
The repick from Roy. Bear in mind, Madden is so very low. Wielding the AWP, dropped by his teammate. They continue to push ahead, and Roy continues to put them down.
Still in this fight. Smoke will force him slightly to back away. They have no side control. That could be a problem. Smoke is lined up, and they get Hooksy as Roy is lining up the smoke himself. Roy is still alive, but he knows that side control has been deemed forfeit. He's going to try and get back to the site, but he meets Hades. And Hades will deal with him so quickly that this round should fall as a result. Yavi's still in this round though, making a move through middle. Onto the elevators, and now about to show his hand on the A side. If he sneaks in, this is winnable. First kill goes down, bomb's now been planted. This is a momentary one-on-one. PGL is just biding his time, he's waiting, he's anticipating this push. And Spinks will survive with 9, and Madden was on 5. That was so nearly winnable for the Flames.
91 in 1. He wishes he had that AK-47. Spinks, though, surviving 9 HP. Not really a clutch because Madden was still alive, but as you pointed out, Vince, they were both so very low. And ENCE, they finally seem to have cracked the code. It was hairy. It came down to Copenhagen Flames making a couple of mistakes in the ramp hole. And despite the heroics of Roy, not quite able to find it, the speed from Spinks and Diha. And 3 will fall and 2 remain for Copenhagen Flames.
Speed does indeed kill, and now the Flames are going to try and re-emerge. We had that comeback, we had the 4 or 5 rounds in the second half. It may not end up mattering if it comes to an abrupt end now. Hooksy and Nikodos, with no real money, are at least in the right position, but Madden still pinces in, and Spinks will go full circle. He got the opening entry, and he'll finish the round off. 14-8.
21 for Diha, 19 for Spinks. The second and the third highest rated players in the major, and they are here to play, Vince. The speed here, the 1-2 wombo combo. They have left Copenhagen Flames shattered. They're going for the 4 spy. And for ENCE, 2 rounds to take map number 1. Multiple opportunities, and Copenhagen Flames are like, we're still gonna battle it out. They're not gonna try and play for OT. They want to bring this one back just with the pistols. And ENCE showing a bit of restraint. They know the money's not great right now for the Danish side. Being very methodical. The Sphinx holding towards mid. All 4 other players gathered up outside the ramp position, and a cheeky little boost. That Deagle could potentially find one.
Problem is, there's going to have to be more bullets behind it to connect. That's a good idea to this position. They're going to check for this one. The kill goes against the Flames. They now know a second player is there as well, which is going to force a lot of ball banging to come in. And Hades plucks out the second player. As you mentioned, this being a force spy puts the Flames in such an awful position. And it looks like the final curtain may be coming down. Nikodos, last man standing, through the smoke snap, he goes for the spray. At least 1 kill for the star player, but Spinks lays him to rest. 7 map points. And this is Copenhagen Flames' choice of map.
Copenhagen Flames have not been able to crack the riddle of the Spinks as he has come alive on this T side. It was Diha who was a rock in the first half. With everyone chipping in for the ENCE side, it is looking unstoppable. It is looking like it's undeniable here as ENCE won away. 7 map points on their opponent's map pick. And look at this buy. Look at the buy for Flames. Couple of MP9s, couple of Deeks, and a solitary scout for Zyphon. They have virtually nothing to work with. It's just crap spins.
They couldn't get it done with rifles. It's hard to see how this is going to work out for them. But we have also seen a couple of crazy Deeks from Nikodos already. They do their due diligence and they find Roy hiding on the crane. And this destruction derby from ENCE just continues. Copenhagen Flames had their second win, but it proved to be nowhere near good enough. Fuxi with the SMG though is making some pain down on the ramp side, traded back out, and Snappy would have heard that Yabi was getting up close, but that's only half the fight. Meanwhile, Zyphon has drilled into the head of Dihao with a scout. So a 2-on-2 has fallen upon the server, but Yabi has the advantage, but he doesn't have the weaponry to make the most of that opportunity.
Zyphon has no Vince. He's picked up an AK-47, the 1v2 to save his team.
Everything on the line, with Nuke coming up next, and Zyphon delivers as he sinks in the fangs, tries to coil up and go back in again. Spinks low HP, smoke down onto the site. Zyphon has no kit though. He may feel desperate to get in amongst this sooner rather than later. Tickling the bomb, trying to draw fire. Gets what he was looking for, takes the kill. This is going to be very close, but I think he has the defuse.
I think he's got it. He needed a clutch. He's got it, Vince. He's got it. He doesn't even need the kit. Oh, what a round! What a round from Zyphon! 18 years of age and pulls off the clutch to keep his team in the map. 15-9 now. And immediately ENCE calling for the tactical timeout. They knew they had one in the bag. They knew that was a round which was theirs. They knew that was the map. Have they allowed Copenhagen Flames back into the game? 6 rounds is what the Flames need to take us to OT. It does look improbable, but it is definitely not impossible.
Mate, how are you going to claim Nikodos is your dad if you can't even spell flames right? Come on, Chief.
No, it's Farms.
Farms?
It's Farms.
Either way, 15-9 the score now. Copenhagen Flames, like you said before, this is their last chance. They've had a second win. This may be their third win. Those are the kind of plays that can inspire, motivate, and really pick up the pace. But the way ENCE have been playing, I have to feel like that's probably just a blip on the radar.
We're about to find out. They have the weaponry this time, Vince. They won the miracle round with the Scout and the SMGs and the Deagles. Can they do it with the full-fledged buy? M4A1s, an AK-47 for Zyphon, and the AW from Nikodos. They're creeping on up, and it is going to be Hooksy to fall the B-bomb side. It's going to come down to Zyphon, but this time he'll find nothing.
Spinks is continuing to twist the knife. The last 3 players stand for Copenhagen Flames. Yabi, Nikodos, and Roy. Under normal circumstances, this is a triple threat of doom. You do not want to be playing against this kind of a roster. And the bomb's still yet to get planted. Copenhagen Flames taking some momentum through mid, and there you can see the bomb dropped in the middle of nowhere. They're gonna have to try and get around here. Snappy through the smoke, takes off the head of Nikodos, but there's Roy to come straight back in. And Spinks on 15 HP is still lurking on the site.
He's so very low. And Madden, they were biding their time. It's all on Yabi.
Yabi, 8 HP, gets the first, looking to try and pick up a second. They desperately need him to go huge here. 25 seconds, he knows the man has to push through him. Less Yabi, more uppercut, more haymaker, and Copenhagen Flames are still in with a chance.
Back-to-back 1v2s for Copenhagen Flames to keep us still in this map. Oh, that was such a weird round for ENCE. The bomb was nowhere nearby. And both Spinks and Snappy, so very low in health, they were waiting for Madden to come in with the flank, and I really felt they'd done enough, Vince. But in the end, the other youngster in the form of Yabi, he delivers.
You can't argue with how huge he's been in this game, and how Roy nailily capitalizes through the smoke. Madden dropped to 16.
Roy as well down to 6 HP, and Madden walks out and finds Nikodos.
Unbelievable. So huge. Copenhagen Flames desperately clambering on for an opportunity to get into their choice of map. But my God, is this going to be a hard ask. As you said, Roy is low. Only an SMG, lack of utility. They only have 1 kit.
I've got to be aware of this angle though. The boost coming in. Hooksy, he needs to deliver with his A1.
They've been in this position before. They had no success last time.
They don't
The
check.
timing works against them, and now Hooksy pivots in. can fall back, but I don't think they realise the second player already pushed up there. Snappy gives his position away, but it's at the cost of Roy's life. And a smoke in the eyes of Zypher will keep him in. That grenade is looking like it's going to be good for the kill. And Madden catches it in his pocket. Copenhagen Flames, though, are going to be cut down to size, and Yavi needs to clutch again. Won't be happening twice. ENCE converted, taking 16-10.
That was a hell of a showing from ENCE. It was close in the beginning, Ben, so it's back and forth, and then they went on an incredible streak. And despite the heroics of the youngsters on the side of Flames, you had the 1v2 from Zyphon, you had a 1v2 from Yabi, but in the end, ENCE will not be denied. They're going to take their opponent's map pick.
As I said, man, they were just undeniable on that CT side especially. And although the Flames, they showed us what they were capable of doing, it felt like it was too little too late. The deficit was too high. However, finishing in a way where Yabi's popping off, Roy is showing what he's capable of, maybe that bodes well for Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, heading to Nuke, it is going to be ENCE territory. It's a map they're absolutely dominant on. But one thing I've learned about his Flame side is you can never, ever count them out. They are tenacious, they are young, they're inexperienced, but they're in here to try and at least make things close.
Indeed, that's it done for us. We're going to head back to the desks. Shocks, by all means, break that one down for us.
Thank you so much. Hope you're having fun casting in the arena. And for ENCE, they needed a couple of map points, but who's going to blame them on that big stage under all that stress? And I think rightfully so for the Copenhagen Flames. They came alive a little bit by the end of that game, but they didn't do enough of on their team side, T side rather, earlier. And unfortunately, that came back to bite them.
I thought we were going to have a game. After the first, couple of rounds back and forth, it felt like there was a game to be happening right here. It felt like, to me, Flames came out swinging, they were able to pressure ENCE, but unfortunately, as you said, it felt kind of flat relatively early in the game.
Yeah, they only had a few early rounds. I want to credit Jabi and Syphoon. They showed up, but we need more from Flames. We need Roy stepping up on the T side. We need Hooksy and we need Nico those, because we can't just have the young guns step out in an arena match like this. Because once you get like 3 rounds on the T side, the opponents only need to get 1 pistol round on the T side, and basically the game is over.
Yeah, especially because we highlighted how Nikodos especially could be a real win condition for the Copenhagen Flames throughout this series. And I think seeing the scoreboard gives us a really cool indication of some things that happened within this game and how both teams have reacted to the pressure, because Spinks didn't have a great start, but then he absolutely turns it around.
That was super, super impressive from Spinks. We even saw him on the B bomb side in the beginning when we had that back and forth scenario with an AWP missing a sitter, right? An easy shot by all means for a guy like Spinks, and I thought, uh-oh, is that going to be that game for him, right? He's 2-5, he's missing a couple of shots, and then he fought back, and he ended up being, as you said, top of the scoreboard, playing a fantastic game. So that mental resilience coming out of Spinks so early in his career on the first big stage he's ever entered, very impressive.
Definitely so. Let's take a look at a couple of rounds, and it was unfortunately round 4, which was good for the Copenhagen Flames, and then immediately how it got shut down after. Set this up for us.
Yeah, we gotta highlight Yabi right here, because he was one of the few positives coming out of Copenhagen Flames. He played a good game of Counter-Strike, and in this round in particular, he found some nice openings. Yabi is the gem for this lineup, especially in the entry duels. Nikodots coming in right here helping, and then it's all up to Yabi. We see the exchange right here, goes for the kill, gets it, and he continues, plays with a lot of confidence, puts down a Molotov, fails a little bit, haha. But for Yabi still, to be able to still fight, to be able to still be ready for these duels, see how crisp, see how clean he is in his execution, that's what we needed to see from Copenhagen Flames. Unfortunately, this was one of the few examples where he got it done alone.
Yeah, I thought after this few segments of rounds, it was basically just cruising from ENCE. Dusha had multiple clutch rounds, this one in particular, because he basically saves that M4, he brings it out, and he's taking as many gunfights as he possibly can, and he just shuts down Copenhagen Flames. And this was an important swing round, because otherwise Copenhagen Flames would have been able to build their economy and have a lot more gun rounds in their T-house.
Listen, the worst part is Copenhagen Flames fought back the round after, right? It was this messy back and forth, and yet it still ended 12-3 for ENCE. So as soon as the game established itself, as soon as we got into a scenario where ENCE could afford to buy every single round, there was no doubt that they were the better team.
Devilwalk, you were talking about an interesting new strat post-pistol round.
Yeah, it's been a trend basically ever since this M4A1 meta that top tier teams to start to save the second round on T side instead of force buying, and we saw it in this game. For example, they did the full eco and then they brought the weapons out and posted a gun round, and I think that's because it's so incredibly difficult to punish the M4A1S when the CT is established at economy, and I think that's a little bit of a trickery. You know, managing the economy is super important.
Which is also why when we talk about conversion rates, right? You win the pistol, you're almost guaranteed to be 2-0. We had a long period in Counter-Strike where often, you know, the conversion rates after winning pistol rounds would be around 60-70%, but you see a lot of teams having 100% at this tournament, given the fact that you're talking about it right here. Not a lot of teams are willing to force it.
Yeah, an interesting thing to keep track of as we continue through this tournament. We're going to take a look at a couple of highlights. ENCE closing out the first map on Vertigo, but we are going to Nuke next. We'll set you up for that after this.
Invincible.
it's a close scoreline in some regard, but ENCE had full control over that game. They just demolished them after that initial pressure on the T side.
I 100% agree. We're moving into a map now that ENCE obviously picked into the map pool, and there's a case to be made right now that ENCE may very well be one of the best teams in the world of Nuke. The past 3 months, they played the map 15 times and won 13 of those games. They have a single loss, close loss against FaZe in the Pro League final, and then they lost to NIP in the decider game, whether or not they would qualify it as a challenger or as a legend. ENCE right now, as I said, may very well be the best team in the world on Nuke, so if anyone wants to beat them, they have to play significantly better than what we saw Flames do on map 1.
And to add some stats into this, 46% of all ENCE games, they win 2-0.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
So for the Copenhagen Flames, it's now, we talked about them in the context of when they are in that elimination game or the qualification game. Sometimes they've dropped the ball. They've killed that kind of because they made it here to the playoffs. Now, though, they're on the back foot. So you could say you can't be more of an underdog than this in this situation. We had Zyphon and you know, popping off and Jabby at the end of the last map at least, right? So Devilwalk, there is some momentum there, but talk to me about specific things that they need to clean up in terms of, you said they were very well drilled. It didn't exactly seem like that on Vertigo, right? So what has to be cleaned up coming into Nuke?
I think they need to punish the aggression that ENCE puts up, because they never really got into their comfort zone of controlling the map control. The ENCE were constantly putting the pressure on them, and they need to be able to punish that, because if they don't, they're not going to be able to run their stress. They're not going to be able to run their executive dishes, running through the yard smokes, punishing you when you're trying to go lower. So they need to punish them. They need to expect that aggression and shut it down.
And win the aim duels, of course.
Win the aim duels, that will go a long way, especially when you're up against a team like ENCE. But I do need to say right here, let's manage our expectations just a little bit. For Flames to be in the quarterfinal, that is a massive, massive surprise. No one really thought that was going to be possible coming into the tournament. They're going up against one of the teams that a lot of people, including myself, the past couple of months have praised for being one of the underdogs to maybe go all the way, to maybe take the trophy or at least get into a semi-final or let alone a final. So we're in a scenario right now where the map pool is not really favoring Copenhagen Flames. They lost their own map pick. We're coming into Nuke. There's not a lot of stuff that points in the direction of Copenhagen Flames. I personally don't expect them to win a map in this series, as I said coming into it, but I would love to see them make it competitive. And that's what we got it going for them, because their Nuke as well is not a bad one. They win the majority of their games as well, 73%. And they had a win streak of 5 in a row before they faced FaZe in this tournament. So yes, ENCE are the favorites, but Copenhagen Flames can play Nuke at a high level.
Yeah, and they get to start on CT side. We think at least Spirit threw us for a loop there yesterday. So now it's about building up as many rounds as you can, so you get into that T side comfortably. Let's break out a couple of things for ENCE, because I like the lens of, okay, ENCE, are you a serious contender for this entire tournament, possibly? Then you're going to make a statement again here, and then you go into your next matchups will be against Heroic or Navi, which will be crazy. We haven't talked about Madden that much yet, and I know that you're a big fan. Of course, you know him very, very well. Some crucial moments for him on Vertigo, right? Through the utility, even, in terms of really shutting out the Flames.
Yeah, I think, you know, we started to see this kind of like fake comeback from Flames opening up. And that's when, you know, the pressure comes onto you. You're putting this position, you know, can we really throw this? And Madden stepped up in that regard. The first team round, they boasted he had 5 HP. He finds 2 picks off of that from that position. Incredibly ballsy plays. And that's what's needed when you actually go on stage and play in front of a crowd. We saw it yesterday with FaZe. They had some incredible moments when they needed the individuals to step up, and Madden did that today.
I'm going to give you 2 win conditions for Copenhagen Flames there if we want to hope for a close game. First off being Roy. On Nuke, he's absolutely fantastic. He's averaging a rating of 1.32 for the Copenhagen Flames. He is the star player. He is the guy that needs to step up. He needs to win the aim duels, as you so beautifully put it, Efje, and he needs to do that from the get-go of the game. Another one, the conversation we talked about coming into the matchup, Snappy versus HooXi. HooXi is having a rough tournament right now. He is one of the lowest rated players in the tournament, and on Nuke specifically as well, he is struggling for his team. Whereas for Snappy, he's actually one of the better rated players with an average rating of 1.13. So, if Copenhagen Flames and HooXi want to make this game competitive, we need to see HooXi match Snappy's output on the server. Otherwise, I'm afraid there's too much firepower within ENCE.
And let me add something to the list there in terms of Nikodos versus Hades as well, right? Nikodos needs to be able to have more of an imprint on this Nuke map, which can become very tactical. You sold me a little bit, Devil, in terms of HooXi and Copenhagen Flames and how good they are at masking their defaults, maybe also creating a little bit of chaos chaos in which they have the control. It seems to be very difficult for them to do that versus ENCE specifically. Why is that?
Sorry.
No problem.
They basically did that on Ancient, but I think that ENCE have learned their lesson coming into this match because they got a taste of it on Ancient, and they got tricked badly on their CT side. So I think they've done their homework, they've studied these kind of plays, and they've set in aggression to stop it.
Aggression from ENCE. We'll see if that is again the name of the game on Nuke. Let's get back over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Shocks. We are ready. Antwerp, do you want to see some Nuke? I think it's safe to say that we're ready to get into our second map here, Blair, but there is a caveat. Copenhagen Flames, they lost on their choice, and now ENCE, they're on their home ground.
Yeah, this is going to be an uphill task for Copenhagen Flames. If we head to Ancient, it's wide open. It is going to be absolutely wide open, but to get there first, they need to take down ENCE in their home ground. It is going to be Nuke.
We are getting ready to jump into the saddle for the second time in our quarterfinals. What could be the last time the Copenhagen Flames play at this major. We are live!
And here we go for ENCE, starting on the T side. He got 3 flashbangs, a Molotov, and a smoke for Hades and Snappy. And it looks like it's going to be just 5 sets of USBs and ammo for the CTs.
Already spilling outside though, Deha has spotted a couple of players jumping across the red containers. He was 19 kills in the first half. Unbelievable performance from the man. Can he pick up the mantle again? No, he's been put down outside. And now Roy is going to have to try and turn his attention towards the A side, where all hell is spilling, all hell is breaking loose, and Nikados is taking heads. And he may not be done just yet. One more up to the plate will be Hades. And Nikados is playing with his food. He's seen him. Hades removes him from the server though. Do not peek this man one by one. He will punish you. He will plunge you into the underworld, and he's taking more heads, and he's gonna get bested on the final hurdle. So incredibly close though.
What a round from Nikados there. I love how Roy is dancing around the squeaky door, shutting the door in the face of ENCE. And despite the heroics of Hades, oh, some of the shots from him, just a clean tap. The second shot as well, especially onto Roy, but Zyphon, he was clutch and Vertigo despite it being a losing effort, and he's clutch here again. It is going to be the forced buy for ENCE. AK-47 out for the pole. Deha leading the charge, and Roy's there tucked in with the MP9.
Ooh, does land the dink, but 2 HP remains. And that'll be enough for Deha to trade weapons. So they keep the AK in the healthy hands of Snappy and still push outside behind the smoke wall. Nikados tapping through the smoke could maybe finish off what they started onto Deha, and now Madden has fallen. Hades, in the meanwhile though, from downtown 1D's Yabi. ENCE is still in with a chance in a 3-on-3, but a couple players limping their way towards the bomb, which has now been dropped out on main.
It's an uncomfortable spot here for the T's to try and retrieve it. But the AK and the Snappy, they all have Kevlar as well. That armor. Snappy duking it out, finds one, immediate trade from Zyphon, and now it's down to Sphinx Vince. He's got to deliver with the Deagle.
And they have to fight. Where the bomb currently is, they have got to fight. They're trying to knock the weapon across. Some juggling, some shenanigans, and now Sphinx. His position will be compromised, but still sprays down. They have no idea where Hooksie's position is. He has eyes on the bomb. 35 seconds. He is also low. The next bullet could very well finish this round. He's going to let them both pass. And then the first... Oh! Hooksy! So nearly played it perfectly. You saw the patience. He wanted to wait for both players. It just didn't quite work out.
Sphinx needed the AK, and just love how that played out. The one hero AK-47 in the hands of Deha, he finds one, Snappy picks it up, taps away the player in hell, and Sphinx drags the rest of them down to the 9th circle. What a spin around to Hooksy, and Hooksy played that almost to perfection, Vince. The first player was the bait to figure out where he was, but Sphinx is too good. A fast hit coming in as Hades drops straight into the vents.
This is almost the worst case scenario though on the side of Copenhagen Flames. They're going to try and take control one more time, and Roy with a CZ drops the bomb down. Hades picks back up the mantle, but For this being a force though, this MAC-10 is going to need to shred through a few more hit point bars. There's no easy freebie kills, and Roy, from strength to strength, just balling around corners, taking heads left and right for the CZ. And now Nikodos goes down to the hands of Diha, but he's the last man standing. He still has 100 hit points. The bomb is spilled one more time. But Diha is going to get divided and conquered. Roy with a huge CZ round.
What a read! What a read from HooXi. They sent in 2 players early towards control, and ENCE were expecting an empty bomb site or maybe just 1 defender towards ramp. And Roy, he makes that CZ shine. For ENCE though, of course it's going to be the force buy coming out. The AK, this time in the hands of Madden. Yet to get off the mark. Rest of them Tech 9 Eagles, quite a bit of utility as well to work with. The smoke wall will be deployed.
Smoke's coming down, but Roy has eyes. He was one of those missing components on the first map that we were worried about. He has certainly shown up here, but they are slowly building their way downstairs here, Blair. Roy's molly is huge though. It stops them in their tracks.
But everyone grouped up, looking to trade, and Roy will deploy the smoke, buys himself a little bit more time. The thing is for ENCE, they have Woodle to time, 1 minute and 15 still on the clock. And right now, Roy is a sole defender towards the lower bomb site, and he's slowly peeling back towards the fence position. And as the smoke dissipates, he's going to hit some headshots from here.
I have to feel that first player is probably going to get splattered. They're looking for a run boost though. Madden wants to get around the corner. Instead they go for the peek onto the doors. No one is home.
They're going to go for it again.
Rolled into a false sense of security, and now they spill out. Roy with no kills will have to find back to the site and try and hold it with his teammates, but he's not closed the door either. They can start to get out of here, but Roy keeps himself alive a little bit longer. The spray is on point, and Spinks and Hades both come in. There's a team kill, and then Hades goes down. ENCE tripping over their own shoelaces and face planting on the site, and Snappy will be the last to fall. They all got stuck in the decon door.
Roy was in such an uncomfortable position there, but the first kill he finds in a player inside the control room was so impactful. If he falls there, suddenly the lower hold, it gets very uncomfortable. He stays alive, he buys time, and ENCE, you said it, Vince, they were just coming out from a tiny little door, getting pincered, getting pinned down. And Copenhagen Flames, they win a convincing round. They're finally going to force ENCE to go for an eco. We have, well, just the one solitary Deagle and Spinks with a P250. That's the only investment. And for Copenhagen Flames, this should be 4-1. And this is the start they absolutely needed.
100% after a disappointing first map. Get that CT side underway. There's still Deagles in play though. A couple players low on utility and economy. Roy with that fast peek capitalizes onto Snappy. Nikodos makes short work of Diha, and it would seem that this round is going to be going very convincingly to the Danes, as expected. But more importantly, they've got to keep all 5 players alive. This is for the bigger picture, because you have to assume that at some stage when ENCE have rifles, they're going to be breathing down the necks of Copenhagen Flames and trying to snatch away the life of them. White swing in, and it's a clean sweep for Copenhagen Flames.
Important round. You want to start to stabilize their economy here. After the first couple of rounds, we saw some wild stuff coming out, but they have stabilized, at least for the time being. Albeit their economy still not exactly in such a great place. This is going to be once more yet another test here from ENCE. A lot of Galils though, just so they can eke out a full-fledged buy. You can see the number of Molotovs they have. 3, 5 smokes, a ton of flashbangs and nades as well. The AK though in the very capable hands of Madden and Spinks. Copenhagen Flames, Roy taking a dangerous duel.
Spinks really pushing out. He's going through the smoke. He gets the frag on Yabi. There's going to be questions asked amongst the team because HooXi was in that smoke and there's more teams passing by him. It's an absolute disaster around. There's chaos everywhere, but Roy comes out ahead. ENCE have spilled out into the site though. They still bypass most of these defense, and HooXi makes the most onto Hades. Diha and a lowly Galil against the world. A weakened Roy up against him, but a smoke down as well, and there is Nikodos. Copenhagen Flames with 5.
What a play from Roy, finding 2 kills, 1 through the smoke as well. And I liked what ENCE did there. Spinks just ignoring the vent, just running out to the bomb side, catching the first defender. He had no clue that he's going to be coming in from Squeaky. But they're able to hold. And despite it being a bit chaotic there, they keep the majority of players alive. And ENCE, it's going to be once more the light by Mac-10s, Deagles. Up ahead.
Madden straight through, getting it off the mark, but there's his first. They have a flash down, Molotovs, everything being tossed into the side. ENCE decide not to fully commit to this. They're actually going to push out, and Hades on the drive-by takes off the head of Huxi.
The ramp's empty, there's no one here. What a call. And Snappy pushed up towards ramp as well. He got cut off the rotation coming in from Hell. Diha just charging inside the control room as well. The bomb will be planted, and Copenhagen Flames, they're falling for it.
Oh, but Snappy's position. He's got himself a Tech 9, he's going to shred through the first. But there won't be a second kill forthcoming. At least he can call a position, but a damage also inflicted onto Zyphon. Already 2 kills in this round, joined by Roy, who's on 10 already. But so much of the timer on the bomb has already ticked away. Super close, and Spinks from range of the Mac-10! And Diha with the SMGs spray and pray and perforate the oncoming flames.
They steal the round away, Vince. And that's got to be a bit of a gut punch for Copenhagen Flames. No clutches incoming this time around. At least they built up a bit of an economy to work with, so we have still a full-fledged buy. Zyphon with the AUG, the AWP out for Nikodos, and for the side of ENCE though, they have everything to work with. Lovely call from Snappy there. They get the first kill in the upper bomb site, immediately pivoting back towards the ramp position, wasting no time, bamboozling Copenhagen Flames, and netting the second round on board. Still 5-2, early days here in map number 2.
It is, but look at that money for Copenhagen Flames, Blair. 3 players, $0. AUG in play on ramp. A weapon we don't see as much anymore. ENCE were one of the teams back in the day with a finish loss that used it, but that's maybe why. Nikodos on the cross, though, makes this a stinging shot, a stinging blow. Ramp will not be taken for free. However, it is taken all the same. And now Copenhagen Flames getting aggressive back in again as Huxi holds down the line from the back of Silos. Bomb has been dropped as well, Blair, in an awkward position, but Snappy's coming back up, he has no idea, he's living on borrowed time, and Roy collects.
Diha though, however, able to take down Huxi, and Sphinx will fall. Nikodos with a double of his own. Now Diha, 9 HP. Bomb dropped in a very uncomfortable position, and Yabi lies in. Wait, they will find the kill. And yet another round for Copenhagen Flames.
One step forward, but instantly battered back.
That's a round they so needed to win. You pointed it out, Vince. The money was in such a precarious position, and that was a great opportunity for ENCE to break their bank and start to try and get that lead back. However, Flames, they stand tall. First tactical timeout getting called by the ENCE side as well. The amount of stress, the amount of nerves these players must be feeling right now. This is all started off with Snappy with an incredible opener.
And Huxi, a player that has had a few awkward moments, very important kill. That dropped the bomb down on ramp on the wrong side, and ENCE could never really recover from that position. However, as the back and forth has continued, ENCE can muster together a buy, and we're ready to jump into round 9. ENCE getting outside control one more time with a bunch of smokes being tossed in, but a molly will fend away the squeaky push. Going for that early secret play as well. This is a play we haven't seen from Copenhagen Flames just yet. I believe that's Nikodos who's going to be making moves in with his AWP. Indeed, he's holding the close angle instead.
You see ENCE now. If you look at utility, 4 Molotovs, it's going to be a barrage utility being dropped in, but look at this re-aggression from Flames.
This is up close, comes out second best though. It's that man again, Diha! And Snappy through the smoke! Snatches away control over A.
That's a save. That's a call for the save. And look at the buy ENCE had, Vince. The amount they invested in utility, they just had a couple of rifles to work with. And they walk away without losing a single member. The immediate call is they go backpedaling all the way towards CD spawn, and ENCE, they snatch another round away here from the Flames side. I like to play from Flames. They were re-aggressing, trying to get in front of the utility. They even found a timing, but they couldn't find the frags. ENCE, they find a third.
Hunting now for any possible stray CTs they can get their hands on, and that bomb is about to detonate. As you can see, the Flames. I stood next to that before. That's hot, by the way. You feel that. Those pyrotechnics, it's no joke.
Gotta love a nice baguette. Gotta say, obrigado for everyone for showing up here. It's still very, very early. We still have another game taking place later on, and this game is definitely far from over as well. ENCE now, with a couple of retrieved rifles in the previous round, looking to string 2 rounds together, something they have struggled with thus far here in Nuke. For Copenhagen Flames, sure, they have a buy, but again, Vince, the money on the brink.
Spink's already downstairs with his AK. He's moved so fast through the decon side.
Nikodos, he hears this, Vince. He knows where they're coming in from.
Has to be a hit and run, and he shoots down the middle. No kills. And that may just be the round over. They've already spilled out, but Zyphon has other ideas. 2 kills to his name. Yabi from the back springs in with the SMG, and Man tries to hold on. Zyphon with 3 sublime frags gets Copenhagen Flames their 7th.
He has delivered so many rounds for Flames in the series, and again, ENCE had everything going their way, and then they get clotheslined by Zyphon, the full spray to find Diha and Hades, and to pick up his triple at the very end there, and he looks so cool and calm. You look at his face, you wouldn't think he's playing his very first major, his very first arena game.
Thank you so much for your incredible support, Antwerp. It's so great to see fans repping their teams, even if they're not here. But we do have 2 teams that are going to be hungry to secure their spot in the semi-finals. Wiping their brow as they know the importance. They know how integral these kinds of rounds are. ENCE may be a little bit weaker, Blair, but they are still in the fight.
We've seen Hades do some grotesque things with a Deagle as well, so you can never count any one of them out. Aggressive posturing by the CTs. Nikodos for a shot miss. Second will find its mark.
Nails the second. The harder of the 2 shots as well. He's still alive. His teammates falling around him. Has to peace out. Has to maintain long control. Zyphon, in the meanwhile, though, is making moves, making inroads. Sphinx is up to the plate, but Zyphon will smash him down.
They have full control here, Vince. Full control of lobby, full control of ramp, and ENCE, all they can work with is outside. But do they know this aggression from 2 CTs? They might be just walking into a slaughter.
The trap is about to be sprung. Hooksy has a perfect crosshair placement. The bomb goes down, and Hades gets picked off from Yabi. The trap cuts them to size. And ENCE, hot off the back of a full-on investment, now have Diha on 18 HP. We were a bit concerned about Copenhagen Flames after that first map, but my God, have they bounced back with authority.
The desk asked, they said we needed someone, some of the stars on the side of Flames to step up, and indeed they have. Nikodos, Zyphon, they have been incredible here thus far. Woo. 8-3 now, Vince.
ENCE have looked a little bit flat in these last few rounds. It's a bit more zest. Pip in the step of Copenhagen Flames, and now with the smoke out onto ramp. Zyphon playing behind it. Always very good news for Zyphon in particular, as he beat Hades in a straight-up 1v1 trade. Not many players can say that.
They need to be careful though. How many rounds have they lost to just the pistols as Zyphon looks to hold his ground?
Incendiary in, flashes behind it, and now the T's just envelop the ramp side. They force away Zyphon, they take a bit of control over Hell, but Nikodos is able to get one, and now Roy is there to help him out. As the T's try and funnel their way through, Diha has answered back with a kill of his own, but now Roy can clean this up. And suddenly, ENCE have 2 remaining players.
Hades waiting for the smoke to fade away, looking for one of the players. Yabi could be the one he finds, but he misses the shot, and his position is now known. He's got the bomb as well, Vince, and the bomb gets dropped, and despite Snappy having snuck his way towards Ram, there's nothing he can do. 40 seconds to work with. But Copenhagen Flames, they have looked like they're here to play. Vertigo, a faded memory now. 9-3, Vince. It's almost like deja vu if you look back at Vertigo, where it was ENCE going on a massive tear on the CD side. This time around, though, it is going to be the Danes. NAVI just comes charging out, looking to die before the time, and he will indeed do so. You can see a couple of smiles being cracked as well. They're starting to finally feel a little comfortable. I feel like maybe the past couple of rounds have been the only time where Copenhagen Flames could have just let out a sigh of a little bit of relief.
So ENCE back in with some rifles. And a chance to perhaps get it done. Nade's already out, picking up the pace, but good counter utility tossed in. Smoke also deployed, flashes towards the top A side. It's about to get hot and heavy, it's about to get chaotic, but it's Yabi once again that comes out. Hand raised above his head, but Spink slaps him away and goes in for more. Nikodos with a solid flick keeps this round alive, but ENCE have already taken control of the site. Nikodos, though, has to come back out. Zyphon precedes him, gets fragged down. Spinks goes in one more time. 3 kills to his name. And Nikodos may have to just pull out and save. There's no real hopes of him getting back on this site. He's going back to his spawn. ENCE have done it for the first time in a while. They're going to win a rifle round.
And all of the back of Spinks. 3 kills for him there, Vince. Incredible spray control to find the second player top of the hut. Finally, ENCE seemingly cracking the code. The fast upper hit coming in. And despite, as you pointed out, a nasty flick from Nikodos, it's not good enough. And ENCE, they find the 4th. And despite the fact that Copenhagen Flames could still invest into this round, it just makes sense, because that round was unwinnable for Nikodos, especially with the fact that he had the AWP to wield with.
Exquisite entries, though, on the side of Spinks. Just picking up the pace, completely caught Copenhagen Flames off guard. I doubt they're going to have that same success again, though. Surely the Danes at this stage will know this is a distinct possibility. And so do ENCE pick up a different idea? Go into the scrapbook. Hades did have enough for the AWP. Decides against it. They want that run and gun mentality, that style that can get up in the face of Copenhagen Flames. Aggression, though, this time forthcoming on the other side of the coin. Is Copenhagen Flames taking ramp? We've seen this before. And the T's have no idea what's coming up. No idea what's about to hit them. Zyphon round the corner of lobby, but Hades is waiting, watching, ever present, shuts him down.
They don't know Madden's here. He's got to find an empty bomb site. Upper bomb site right now is open for business.
The minute left on the clock, though, Blair. Do they decide to go in for the Hail Mary? ENCE are just biding their time. This is where a player of Snappy's stature, his tenure, how many times he's been around the block, he's going to slow this and make Copenhagen Flames really sweat this round out. 50 seconds to play with. They quickly check the angles, but there is Yabi. They have to contend with him. In the meanwhile, Uxie showing his hand, and Yabi snatches away.
It's a fake. It's all a ruse. As they walk into the upper bomb site, they got the bomb, and it's going to come down to Roy from outside to do something. The smoke's going to obscure his vision. Yabi, though, waiting inside of the vents, waiting, coiled like a viper, waiting to strike.
Molly is well placed, though. It's going to stop this re-engage. Yabi actually takes damage. That's a sound cue that comes across. Spinks was alive, waiting, ready, and able, and Hades goes back in again. Roy may have 13 frags, but he's in a 1-on-3 with Copenhagen Flames economy in the bin. And no easy kills here. ENCE's post-plant positions are so good. And Hades just gets his 3K round the corner. 5th round on ENCE.
ENCE, we're ready there. Oh, what a round though. Madden sneaking inside of Hut, him not being checked. And that pushed the aggression from Copenhagen Flames, a slow pincer towards the lobby. Failing. Of course, you look at the bar here, it is roughness. The A1 for Yabi, the rest of them with MP9 is burning alive. Spinks will find him at the upper bomb site. It is getting absolutely split apart by Spinks.
2 kills and 2 of the CTs are stuck in ramp. Smoke is going to deal with them. Meanwhile, though, Roy's made moves up on vents. And Hades puts him down. Copenhagen Flames have Zyphon and Nikodos for the last round of the half. It looks untenable. It looks impossible. But impossible is nothing unless you get sprayed down from Dihar and Spinks. 9-6, considering how one-sided that half was. That's a hell of a comeback on ENCE.
It looked like Flames had done enough to build up a solid CD side here. But with ENCE finding 6, suddenly the amount of opportunities they will have to close the series out in just 2 maps, it looks really, really good. Spinks once more, the number of rounds they've won with that man just waltzing in, leading the pack and cracking heads, it's been incredible. 12 for him and Dihar. Again, these 2 players, the stars of ENCE, they shine. They shone on Vertigo, they're shining here as well. Hades as well, having a pretty good game. Nikodos and Roy, though, they gave it everything, and they now need to give more. They still have the lead. Outside smokes will not be deployed, just the 1, and Hades looking to take the duels.
Smoke's now down, Flash is good though, will allow them bypass it, but they haven't pushed fast enough. And Spinks from heaven rains down hell. Roy's been picked up 2nd. ENCE already quartering off 2 of these players. They pushed in towards the vents, but Dia's here, and he's taken the head of Yabi and also Nikodos. This pistol round is a complete collapse.
Flawless from ENCE. Not a singular point of damage being taken. And a big, such a risky play. They try to cross out wide. The flash, it doesn't pop wide enough to blind Spinks. And he's just gonna snipe them away. And once more, it's the 1-2 punch of Dihar and Spinks as ENCE to win the pistol. And for Copenhagen Flames, a full eco. They didn't get the bomb down. They didn't even get a single kill.
Nasty damage on Huxi. 36 HP evaporates. Disintegrates from the HE, and now on the cross, Spinks will be fragging. Dihar will feel like he probably should have done better from that position, and it has afforded Yabi the luxury of planting down the bomb. Now there's no upgraded pistols, so the chance of holding on to this are pretty much nothing at all. But a bomb plant, all things considered, that's a pretty good outcome.
That's a win. That's a win right there for the Flame side. They didn't get the bomb down in the first round. At least now they can not only go for the AK armor buy Vince, but they can buy up any bit of utility they want to work with. But for ENCE though, flawless CD side thus far.
What must be going through the heads of Copenhagen Flames right now? You're mapped down, you lost your choice. Nuke started so well, but it's starting to slip away. First time on a stage of this magnitude.
Looking at the crowd, the French contingent, I gotta say, Vince, maybe someday. Major in Paris could be wild.
I think that would be a ruckus crowd, to say the least. But we're ready to get back into this. 9-8 the score. Copenhagen Flames have lost the last couple on this half. And ENCE on the CT side could quickly feel the effects of the economy. Spinks out aggressively through the smoke, up close on Squeaky. But Yabi and Zyphon playing the lobby angles, slowing it down, backing off for now.
Hades being aggressive towards T-Red here. Flashbang, Yabi's gonna fall back. There was a bit of a team flash as well. And Hades playing a dangerous game, but as the smoke fades away, he in turn will fade inside a secret. Spinks with the MP9 though is gonna be playing up close and personal. 3 defenders for his upper bomb set, and Hades making sure Roy doesn't sneak in towards Mini.
Throw on the hut for the time being. Smoke's now being put down. Hades is there. Molotov just in front of him as well, but there's a Molly in counteractive play. Still surgically removes Hooksy and backs out.
I love the Molotov from the CDs there. They weren't expecting it, Vince. And Diha finds Nikodos as well. Lovely stuff. He's looking for more, and indeed he will find 2.
Spinks and Zyphon, or Yabi I should say, and Zyphon, last remaining Copenhagen Flames members, and they're being cordoned off from one another. Zyphon currently in the squeak, he's mollied out, wants to try and look in for that wide swing. There's force back from Spinks, stands his ground, delivers 1 frag, but it's at great cost to his HP. 20 remain. And this is really into the wheelhouse of that SMG. They're making this a costly one though on ENCE.
20 seconds though.
Spinks still there, dropping down, they would have heard that. There's a rotational play in effect as well. They have control over the bomb. They're going to look to try and push onto the back of the side here. In the meanwhile, though, Snappy from the side takes him down. 6 seconds to play with. Zyphon is landing nothing but headshots.
No time, though,
There's
Vince.
no time. That's so disappointing if you're Zyphon, because he played it so well.
What a round from Zyphon. And it is gutting to see it slip out of his hands. But a perfectly placed, perfectly timed flank. And time was not his friend. ENCE have tied things up now. You can hear the chant. I gotta say, it's not been easy thus far in Nuke. They have had to battle their way back in. That's lovely to see. That is lovely to see. All right, make some noise for these guys, everyone.
That's what it's all about. That's what the Major is all about, bringing people together. But of course, Copenhagen Flames have their eyes set on converting and taking this map. But the vast lead they had, Blair, it's now been brought down to nothing. We are tied up. Momentum is absolutely in the hands of ENCE.
And if there's one guy I'm looking at, it's Zyphon, that saved AK-47 from the previous round. If he can continue his heroics, there is still a chance. The rest of them, though, Deagle, Kevlar, and 3 of the members, Hooksy with 1 smoke of 2 that they possess right now. And for ENCE, it's a full-fledged buy. Hades with a zoom banger. A1s for each and every one of his teammates. Zyphon just poking and prodding towards ramp. It's only Hades with the op here, but Snappy making his way back up, ensuring the T's don't have control here. And he's looking to be even more aggressive. And he is like, why is lonesome though? And this is a dangerous game, and Zyphon will punish him for playing it.
Yeah, it was because he pushed out alone. There was no lobby contingent there, so they could hold their angles, feeling completely comfortable in doing so. A real opportunity now. Copenhagen Flames haven't really had any on this half. But keep in mind, that crazy play from Zyphon last round, even though he didn't win, it cut the economy significantly on some of these players. They only had 1 player left alive. So it's there for the taking here if the Flames want it. But Hades shuts down this ramp push. He spots the bomb getting tossed across. He knows there's 2 players here, but he's missed another one. He should be getting punished from Yabi. And our ramp is open, and they've already pushed into heaven. This nearly catches Madden off guard. This round is very winnable for the Flames, but time's ticking against them. Spinks in the meanwhile, though, from the double doors gets shut down. And he was their last hope. Or was he? Maybe Madden can step up. Yappy's just feeling it right now. 3 kills.
What a round. What an absolutely incredible round from Copenhagen Flames, punishing ENCE for the aggression, punishing ENCE for not giving them the respect. Snappy the first to fall. And then we saw, yeah, there we have it, Siphon, patience from the guy. And then Hades caught in no man's land. And despite time running out, Gabby, man, he's just getting off the bomb every single time, taking out ENCE. And with that, look at the buy for Snappy and his men. 2 A1s, a few rifles, but Sphinx pushing it. He's gonna find 2.
That's going to mitigate all of the issues they had. But they need Hades to deliver outside. Diha also trying to play in the main in case he gets swept into. He's been forced away. That Molotov shouldn't extend and finish him off. But in doing so, he's buying up enough time now for his teammates to rotate downstairs if they need to. And Diha's keeping this one interesting on the main side. So ENCE, they've got the 2 picks they look for. And Copenhagen Flames, they're in real trouble. There's a gap in that smoke.
They have another smoke to work with. A number of flashes. But knowing they had a weaponry advantage, they're looking for ENCE to challenge. And ENCE will indeed challenge as Hades finds Nikodos.
Frag. One counteractive kill comes in from Roy and it's clean. HooXi still alive, still proud in this round, 50 seconds. But Hades with the deagle once again. Striking from the shadows. And HooXi does at least have the bomb. Throwing away the orb, intelligently done. It's going to cost him his life. Let's be honest, he had no real chance anyway. So he at least deals some of those rifles away. But ENCE, on 2 rifles and 3 eagles, have pulled that out of the fire.
That was messy from Flames. Hades just getting away with murder. He should have been dead to rights there. He was so very low in health as well. He was a 2 HP Vince, and he gets 2 kills. That should really not be happening. Of course, everything started off with Sphinx pushing hot and getting the first 2 kills. And Copenhagen Flames scraping the bottom of the barrel. They will go for the buy. AK's out, deagle for HooXi. Diha, though, is blinded as Hades pushing in, but Roy able to find him from behind.
Diha does avenge Hades, however. So they can't fully explode outside just yet. That smoke allows him a different passageway to fall back onto the locker side here. Intelligently done by Diha, especially as that smoke is now clearing. But he did bypass 1 player in the process. You'll have a good idea they could be making moves outside via the hell area. They don't know for a fact. And Yabi has another position. Even though kills are back and forth, the Nikodos is still claiming kills. Yabi is in such a good position, but somehow gets killed by Madden. He had no right to get that kill.
HooXi on the hunt, though. He knows where Madden is, and Madden already repositioning himself all the way back towards T-Roof. As Nikodos and HooXi have everything to do. Snappy still alive. He's by the lower bomb side, and look at this from Madden. There's no way they check this.
24 HP, and you go back to that playthrough on main. Madden, he's caught in the back. Yabi had everything going in his favor, misses out on that spray, and now 1 and 2, but it's Nikodos. He's got enough time, he has the bomb.
Where does he go?
If you go downstairs, Snappy is there, he's made noise. This feels like it may be a done deal. Does he realistically check this angle? Hell no! And let's pick up the lead again.
That was played to perfection by Madden. Firstly, he finds the kill spinning around from midi, and then he repositions himself, and the hunter becomes the hunted. Oh, he played that one so well. The Snappy was just going to be committed to holding on to the lower bomb site. And Nikodos, he had to make a decision, Vince. He had no idea where this man was. As a 3rd attack timeout getting called by Copenhagen Flames.
This has to be Snappy's best ever opportunity to go far in a major. They've already made it to the quarterfinals. They're just a few steps away from the semifinals. And at that point, anything can happen. A guy that's been around for so long is now with a real possibility of doing something truly spectacular. Copenhagen Flames down to a Mach 10 on both HooXi and Yabi. A deagle on Nikodos. And this is all of their savings put into this round. This is a do-or-die moment, Black.
So much being invested here by them. As you pointed out, Vince, a couple of Mach 10s. There's going to be a fast upper hit.
They're looking to go out on their shield if they are. There's so many grenades down. Spinks blows Eichmann to smithereens, and although Hades couldn't get the frag, he spots HooXi pushing into main. That's not quick enough to deal with Spinks though. But then HooXi decides to push back outside again, and Snappy's here for 2, and significant damage to Nikodos, who gets finalized by Hades.
The preemptive nades from ENCE completely obliterating that push. And they needed to make the play towards ramp when they were distracted towards upper bomb side, Vince, but the smoke kept them at bay. They had to run on through it. Snappy with a double kill, and Hades with the final nade. Nail in the coffin there. 12-10. ENCE with a 2-round lead and 4 rounds for them to close this one out. The half buy, and again, the head straight towards Fence this time around.
Dictating the pace of the rounds here. I love the call. Copenhagen Flames have players downstairs. Snappy's already making moves though, throwing down the Molotov, and Diha is allowing free control over ramp. It's not at the cost of winning lives just yet though, but Yavi from above's gonna strike, and now Nikodos with the deagle! Nika does not hurt ENCE. He's just ripped away 2 heads. And now Roy on the Tech 9 is continuing to turn the knife in the side. There is no way back in this round for Spinks. Copenhagen Flames have stolen this round away.
A round they had no business winning. It was a half buy. And the pistols reign supreme. Nikodos with a perfectly played angle. 2-1-Ds. Executes everyone of ENCE. And there's nothing, not a chance in hell, even for this player. Spinks is gonna save that A1. And sure, they have some money in the bank, but it has been a bit of a blow here for ENCE.
Here it comes. 11th round for the Flames. And ENCE suffering a fatal overdose of aggression. 2 rounds in a row, fast A, vent dive. That was the golden ticket.
And the ramp pressure as well. These shots from Nikodos though. The first one, clean. The second, just the slight readjustment as well to find Hades. Vince, they had pistols, and they walk away from that round with the win and 4 rifles. That is massive for their money. And now ENCE down to just a 1 round in the lead. We have a game in our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. The Molotov for Roy, but he will run on through. The smoke wall here for Copenhagen Flames is going to allow a couple of members to sneak in. Bomb as well in the back of the captain, that is HooXi. Hades tucked in, but he hasn't heard any footsteps. He didn't even hear the Flames licking away at Roy early.
Feels like some misdirection onto the side. Flashes and mollies, forces out a smoke. The Copenhagen Flames not pushing behind this. I love that idea, but what are they going to do with it? Because it feels like they're not really being proactive behind this fake. They have already got down into secret. Without any pushes in play, Hades can hold position right now and relay this information to the rest of his team. Oh, Hades is going to go looking. This could be so important. 1 kill to Hades, the second as well. Outside is his domain.
45 seconds. The flash as well, that's a giveaway. They know where Roy is, and Roy's got to go big again. And Maiden just slams the door shut. They need to find something, and Yabi will. Diha will fall. 30 seconds. They need to decide where did it go with the bomb.
That's exactly it. It seems the B side is going to be the choice. They do have access to vents if they so choose. There's 2 players in close proximity, one of which is going to be Madden on top of the site. Strikes in for 1. So much damage done. Nikodos will not survive. Will not live to tell the tale of the round. And ENCE regain a 2-round lead, 3 shy of their semi-finals position.
This time they don't stumble. And Copenhagen Flames getting control of Secret. But they just stick around. They don't really do anything with that. Allowing the double kill from Hades, great work. But catching them off guard with the aggression. And then Madden smartly just playing on the bomb site. Final tactical timeout getting called for Copenhagen Flames. They can start to feel it slipping out of their fingers. All their hopes, their aspirations.
Antwerp, do we have any Flames fans in the house?
Make the ground shake! They need your energy right now! They are so close to being bested by ENCE. They cannot afford another loss here, Blair. They've got to start coming back.
And they have the money, Vince. A full-fledged buy. The AWP as well for Nikodos on his T side. Nades raining it outside. Won't deal too much of damage though, as Roy, once again, this time waiting for the smoke to deploy before he marches in towards Secret. And once more, he'll have to go up against this man, Hades, as Sphinx in the meantime, looking around the smoke, ensuring no one snuck in. A few warning shots. The smoke will deploy towards Squeaky. Bit of a standard default coming out here from the Flame side. They're waiting for the aggression, and multiple times ENCE have come out on top, but that is still something that can be punished. And that's what Flames are looking to do right now.
Flash outside of main. Diha will be allowed to fake the rotation as a result, but I think he got hurt.
Oh, for sure. Roy's conveying all this information.
Roy's just holding an angle, anticipating maybe a secret push. Spinks in the meanwhile, though, up on the hut. Could come down to timing. Molly on the top. Spinks falls down, and now Yabi's going to try and make up some ground for himself. Picks up one kill, but Spinks is here. He's littering the bodies of all of Copenhagen Flames, but Nikodos finally will retort in kind. Hooksy with his AK is going to put down one frag. There's the double spray! Madden shuts down Squeaky! But Roy is still in with a chance. Roy could still pull this off. He's hearing the footsteps. He's been so sneaky. He's been an agent of chaos, a minister of mischief. And misses out the shot! Oh my God! Heartbreak for Roy.
Many a player have fallen in that position, Vince. He had it. At 25 seconds on the clock, he gets the kill. It's a 1v1. There was a world, and he misses his shot. Snappy spinning around. Oh, heartbreak there for Roy. And now 14-11. They still have money for yet another buy. But the opportunities, Vince, it's dwindling away.
Yeah, and that's already two players with no utility, just a flash on Nikodos. They have no Molotovs left, and we know the importance of Molotovs on T-side of Nuke. We've seen them toss them to top main multiple times, force away. Pardon me, they actually do have one Molotov, now in the hands of Zyphon. So perhaps they can put that to use yet. But considering they've lost so much hit points on Nikodos, on Zyphon, they need an entry so desperately. It's not going to be forthcoming as Snappy pivots in once again, shutting down the ramp, but will go down. Not before Diha has his say, though. A 2-for-1 trade.
Oh, and Hades fighting Roy. That's a look taken care of. And Nikodos, Vince, internally hemorrhaging. He's going to group up with his teammate and Yabi. How many times has this youngster delivered? How many times has he clutched for his team? And once more, he needs to do the same. The nade sails in, though, and chips away at his health. A 2v4 for Copenhagen Flames to stave off OT, but look at the push coming in from Hades.
Time is so low. The sands of time running dry as Copenhagen Flames face their potential execution. But Nikodos will make a stay. Gives them a chance. Gives them a lifeline.
Time.
10 seconds. Hades missing out on an opportunity. Oh! Nikodos with a hell of a shot. But it may not end up mattering. 15 rounds now on ENCE.
What a try from Nikodos. What was the shot? Oh! Absolute filth, but it's not good enough, Vince. 4 map points, 4 match points for ENCE to close this one out. If Copenhagen Flames, it's do or die.
Everything on the line. Dreams within touching distance. ENCE have 4 chances at a semi-final position here in the Antwerp Major. And Snappy, try as he may, he's not landing much damage, but he's at least gaining the respect of the Flames, who
Dent push him again.
He is looking to push up. He's looking, daring for them to run out of the smoke. Repositioned himself though, and ENCE, this is it, Vince. 4 members grouped up together. The smoke dissipates, they wait for a push. Minute still on the clock. Are they going to fade back towards the lobby is the question. Is Snappy, he's going to make contact.
He is. Even if he doesn't get a kill, he can just back out of there and try and wait for the cavalry to arrive. Spinks has been spotted in the corner. No molly fired towards his position just yet. 45 seconds and Snappy's got one. Incendiary behind it. And Hades is picking up the pieces. ENCE is so close to the semi-finals. But Hooksy is keeping this alive. Diaz at the back of the site though. The silos will get run dry. Hooksy's dealt another fatal blow, and they have the right idea. Watching the vents. Nikodos getting put out of position. Bomb's been planted down, but Hades continuing to frag out. Siphon and Nikodos, all that remain. Vent flash up and over. Nikodos is unaffected by this though, and they have the crossfire down. Established. Nikodos and Siphon! Hold on! For dear life! Course correct! And allow Copenhagen Flames to go again.
Oh my word, Vince, it looked like that was done. What a recovery. Winning all the duels in the upper bomb site, and in a 2 versus 3, they do not get phased. ENCE calling their own timeout. Couple of wry smiles on their faces. They knew that was almost it. They knew they almost had the game there, but they still have 3 opportunities. But the bye is grim. 2 M4s, Hades and Spinks with the rifle, and it's all Hooksy here. 2 incredibly pivotal frags for him, and Siphon spinning around like a top with the Galil, able to clutch it out for his team. But here we go, we're jumping into round number 28. 2 M4s and 3 pistols, all they have to work with, and Hooksy's gonna lead the way.
Aggression once again. Hooksy's already downstairs. Snappy, slight gap in the smoke, will try and make some moves with a deagle, but he's given his position away. There's a pop flash in, but Snappy with 2 kills! 3 kills alongside Spinks! Everyone is falling! Copenhagen Flames were hoping to build a fortress on its side, but it's been dismantled. And now Hooksy has to try and pick up the pieces, rebuild it again. It won't be happening, and ENCE are in the semi-finals. ENCE have done it.
Your 3rd semi-finalists, it will be ENCE. Oh, what a showing, what a fight from Copenhagen Flames, Vince, but in the end, it was not enough. And ENCE looking to recreate that magical run from 3 years prior. It's 5 whole new different players, but they look so incredible. Led by Snappy. Spinks, we had questions. Spinks, Hades, Diha, Madden, would their nerves hold up on the stage on this major? And they answer emphatically. What a convincing win, but shout out to Flames. They gave everything they had in that map.
Oh, absolutely. We still had some great performances. I think Yabi definitely needs a lot of plaudits for how he played over both of the maps. Nikodos landed some of the most outrageous shots we've seen the entire major. That flick no-scope to heaven was unbelievable, but ultimately, ENCE were just too good on the day. And they show us again why they're revered as such a good team. And some people's dark horse to win the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. They could go on a streak here, but I guess that's it from us here, Vince. We were lucky. It was a 2-0 affair, but what a series it was.
Yes, it was indeed. Unfortunately for the Flames, not fiery enough to make it to that semi-final, but they just simply ran into a very strong ENCE. And I think before this major started, you would have already said you don't ever want to be drawn up against ENCE, right, in general situations. But I think they're really putting notches on their belt now in terms of what they can show. And you can say, okay, you know, quality of opponents, whatnot, but they have proven that they can beat some of the best in this run throughout this whole major. So where does that leave us?
It leaves us in a scary place for whoever's going to face ENCE, to be completely honest. I think the performance today was spectacular in the fashion they did it. It was very convincing. At no point did I feel that ENCE were in any deep trouble in this matchup. I want to give credit to Copenhagen Flames as well for putting up a game right here, for pressuring ENCE just a tiny little bit in that first half. At one point it felt like, okay, ENCE, you may lose control over the game here. If you don't pick up more than 3 or 4 rounds on the T side, we could have a case where it could have gone all the way. But at the end of the day, you know, as said, I never felt like ENCE were out of control.
No, I think they put up a really, really good and strong start, because every time ENCE on that T side, except at the end, everything they got, when they got something going, they got shut down instantly. They had everything under control, I think, Copenhagen Flames. A 9-3 lead and the big turnaround after that.
Also on the back of one person, all of the people on ENCE, but also Spinks, who had another fantastic performance, and he's standing by with Banks on stage.
That's right, Shox. He certainly did have a fantastic performance. And Spinks, this is your first time on the stage. Not a bad crowd to do it in front of, right? You enjoy it?
It's amazing, guys. I don't know, I'm speechless.
Well, they will make you speechless with all that noise, that's for sure. But I want to ask, when it comes to this matchup, did you expect Copenhagen Flames to pick that Vertigo, considering your Vertigo's been looking pretty good recently?
We didn't expect them to pick Vertigo. Maybe Snappy and the coach thought about it, but with the players, we have no idea. And I was pretty surprised when they told me Vertigo is the first map, but we had some small preparation and that's it.
And that's it, but it was enough to get it done. And one thing that I like about ENCE right now is you guys don't need to have maybe just any one player pop off. You do pop off a lot, to be fair, but it seemed like a great team performance overall. Is this off the back of just a lot of trust and kind of idea to follow the same game plan? Do you guys just believing in each other?
I think we are different from other teams, that we do believe in each other more than normal teams. And yeah, it's like everyone in this team can pop off. Daisha, Hades, Madden, even Snappy sometimes have these crazy games, and it's easy to play this way.
It definitely is easy to play this way, and you've got your stepper further forward now. But I want to ask you, to me, you're looking like you're probably a top 5 player in the world right now. Does it feel that way?
I do feel good about my game. I don't think if I'm in top 5 in the world right now, but I do have more confidence, and yeah.
Well, later on today, you'll find out who your opponent is. But overall, how good are you feeling for this tournament and going all the way?
I feel great about this tournament, and I don't know who will face next, but I guess NAVI or Heroic, right? I think NAVI will win it, but they shouldn't underestimate Heroic.
They definitely shouldn't, and neither should any opponent you're going up against. Spinks, congratulations on the win. We'll speak to you soon. Back to you, Shox.
Thank you so much. Wonderful interview as well, Banks. I love hearing from Spinks. And majors are where stars are born and where some kind of fall off their pedestal. But that hasn't been the case for ENCE, and that hasn't been the case for Spinks.
Listen, this was the final hurdle, right? We kept setting the bar higher and higher and higher. And the one question we remained, you know, can he perform on a big stage in front of a massive crowd? And the answer is yes. Spinks pulled off a masterclass performance, a 1.47 rating. He was the only player on the server to go positive KD on the T sides in this game. So massive prop to Spinks for once again showing us that he is one of the best players in the world.
And yeah, Devil, you started talking about, sorry to cut you off, but you started talking before the interview kind of about how this game went and that the Copenhagen Flames actually had a solid start. Talk